This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. The headlines: anti-terror workshop for Muslim women in Luton, A10 closed in Hertfordshire, and Watford back to winning ways.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The Making a Stand event is just one of a number taking place across the country. More from Barry Caffrey.
The event's being organised by Inspire, a counter-extremism and human rights organisation. It's calling on Muslim women to stand in solidarity and challenge those who preach hatred. It wants to stop extremists brainwashing young people and reject the threat of terrorism by taking action in local communities.
The A10 remains closed in Hertfordshire this morning following yesterday evening's crash at Hoddesdon involving a lorry and two cars. The crash happened just after 6:30pm. The lorry caught fire. Herts police say safety checks have to be carried out on a bridge which was struck. The road could be closed until at least 8:30. A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme. 31-year-old Sylvanus Mason was told by a judge at St Albans Crown Court this week that he was being given a chance to turn his life around. More women are to be employed at the Yarlswood Immigration Centre in Bedfordshire after complaints that female asylum seekers have been routinely humiliated by men working there. A number of staff were sacked last year after more than 30 allegations of sexual misconduct. Labour's Deputy Leader Harriet Harman, who was visiting Bedford yesterday, says they'd rather have fewer people held in detention centres.
We'd rather see fewer people detained. We'd rather see a strong border force so that we don't have people that we need to then have deported.
A man has been jailed for life without parole in the United States for the murder of the former Navy SEAL, whose memoir inspired the Oscar-winning film American Sniper. Chris Kyle and a friend were shot dead at a shooting range in Texas 2 years ago. Lawyers for Eddie Ray Routh had argued a defence of insanity. Police are making a fresh appeal for witnesses after the death of a man following a crash on the M1 in Hertfordshire on Sunday morning, which closed the motorway southbound for several hours. The man in his 60s, who died in hospital on Monday, was a passenger in a Renault Clio, which was in collision with the Vauxhall Astra just before the turn-off for the M25. A second passenger, a woman in her 50s, remains in a critical condition. New regulations are to be announced by the government today, making it easier to prosecute companies responsible for nuisance marketing calls. There have been only a handful of prosecutions in spite of more than 175,000 complaints made last year. In sport, Watford returned to winning ways in the Championship last night.
Deeney takes a touch, he might fall to Iain onto his left foot, and Colin fumbles it, and Nicolo is going to touch it home for a third goal. Oriol Nicolo in the right place at the right time. It's Watford 3, Rotherham 0.
And in the Champions League, 2 goals from Luis Suarez gave Barcelona a 2-1 win at Manchester City in the first leg of their last 16 tie. The weather: any rain will clear away eastwards this morning to leave some sunny intervals, a maximum temperature 10 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Boyley.
What's up?
Betsy.
Hello, my love.
And Dealey not here upstairs.
Alright, boss.
I here. You right, Deals?
Yeah, boss, stop my head. You.
Okay. Oh, I should open the computer program that's got all of the words on what I say.
Did you notice how flustered Dealey looked when he came in today?
He did look very flustered. What's going on?
I know
Nothing,
why.
mate, nothing. It's all easy.
I know
calm
exactly why.
geezer.
Why?
He
What's?
sent me a text message this morning saying he was doing some work on the streets before he came in, so he's going to be late. And I responded with the words "late as baby," which of course came from 50 Shades.
of Grey.
50. His favourite movie of
Yeah.
all time.
He forgot the reference and thought I was cracking on.
Did you just roll your eyes at me? Either of you. Did anyone roll their eyes at me? Because I'd be up for that. No? Okay.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's a song.
Summer's here and the time is right.
That's, as I said, it's a song.
It's a song about dancing.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember the Mick Jagger?
Yes.
David Bowie version? Was that awful? Kelly, could you go through the record collection here and see if we've got the Mick Jagger and David Bowie version of that?
Sure.
Thank
I
you,
think we
ma'am.
have.
I can't listen to that now without thinking of that thing they've put on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
No,
what I heard. That's what I heard, is they had a great time making the video for that song. That's what I heard.
Have you seen the YouTube one where they've taken all the music off and you can just hear them scratching around on the floor and stuff? I'm going to find it and tweet it.
It is very funny. Let's
guys.
see if we can stand more than 30 seconds of that, please. Mate, can we just play Dancing in the Street, different versions? We'd have to do that.
I bet everyone's had a go at that
The
one.
Mamas and Papas did a great version of it. Anyway, 08459, etc., 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 etc. Now, an anti-extremism event for Muslim women is being held in Luton today. The Making a Stand campaign hopes the session will empower mothers and sisters to spot and prevent radicalisation. Catherine's studying this. What more do we know?
Well, this is all part of the Making a Stand campaign, as you said, which was launched last year with the support of the Home Secretary, Theresa May. Now, the hope is that today's workshop in Luton will better equip Muslim women to stand up against the ideology that can lead young people to align themselves with extremists both here and abroad. Now, the feeling is that these women have a great deal of influence within their own families and in the community at large, and harnessing the power of those women could help stop the spread of something that's hard to crack from the outside.
And who's behind this?
Well, the group is called Inspire, and it's an NGO, a non-governmental organisation, and it's working to counter extremism and gender inequality. Now, Inspire says that they empower women to support human rights and challenge extremism and gender discrimination. They say the aim is to create positive social change, resulting in what they say will be a fair and more democratic and peaceful Britain. So Inspire says women are the key to the development and prosperity of any society, and Muslim women are no different in this, and they're capable of being at the forefront of strengthening communities.
Gosh, because some people would argue that Muslim women are subjugated by the fact that they are often encouraged to cover their faces and their bodies and are treated as second-class citizens. Some people might suggest
and you can put
that.
this to Inspire later on. We'll be speaking to Sarah Khan from the group.
This event today, what's going to happen?
Well, we've been told that there will be talks calling on Muslim women to stand in solidarity. It's an opportunity for Muslim women to meet others who want to uphold their way of life and challenge those who preach hatred and violence. We don't yet know what practical advice will be offered or why it's only targeting Muslim women, but we should be able to find that out when we speak to Inspire's director, as I say, later on in the show.
OK. I do wonder... I always think with these kind of things, hey, great idea, guys, wouldn't it be great if it worked? But the kind of people that go to these things... It's like when they always say, we should get youth clubs, that would stop crime amongst kids. Well, no, the kind of kids that go to youth clubs are the kind of kids that wouldn't be involved in crime.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing here, that the people that go to this aren't the people you need to get the message to.
We'll also be speaking to Anthony Glees, who's a security expert.
He's good, isn't he?
And he's saying that this kind of suggests that Muslim women are less likely to be radicalised. Well, if you have a look at the papers this week, that's not necessarily true, is it?
No, there's been, those three young ladies that have gone off to Syria. Hey, we've sent coppers over to Turkey. That seems a bit weird, doesn't it? The Metropolitan Police officers have gone to Turkey.
But then again, if you look at the newspapers, everyone's saying, why didn't we stop them before? So there has to be a show of action, I guess.
Is that not... Would you imagine you're the copper that gets sent to... I wouldn't want to go to Turkey as a British police officer.
Also, doesn't it become a kind of intelligence operation rather than a police operation?
You would think so. Should we have a... Right, OK. Should we have a little listen to this, see if this...
Oh.
I don't remember this bit.
Okay.
Oh. What? What did he say?
Australia, France, Germany, UK,
Let's just wait.
I'm already twitching.
It's punchy. It's punchy.
My right eye's going. No.
It's flipping awful.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys change, had much to say. But man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. You know that chick that used to dance a lot? Every night she'd be on the floor shaking what she'd got. Man, when I tell you she was cool, she was red hot. I mean, she was steaming. And that time over at Johnny's place, well, this chick got up and she slapped Johnny's face. Man, we just fell about the place. If that chick don't want to know, forget her. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town. 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 Spread the word around. Guess who's back in town? You spread the word around. Friday night they'll be dressed to kill down at Dino's Bar and Grill. The drink will flow and blood will spill. And if the boys want to fight, you better let them. That jukebox in the corner blasting out my favorite song. The nights are getting warmer, it won't be long. Won't be long till summer comes. Now that the boys are here again. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. 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 Spread the word around. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. The boys are back. The boys are back.
Go away!
Why would a boy play with a girl's toy? He's quite literally a legend in his own underpants. Music. Music.
And we'll speak to Justin Dealey shortly to find out just how he's feeling after, well, this happened yesterday.
Music.
He slipped over on the ice.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, let's start out at Hoddesdon. Now, the link road off the A10 into Hoddesdon, eastbound effectively, is currently closed because of a lorry that was on fire yesterday evening. So no access currently into Hoddesdon from the A10 on the link road because of that lorry fire. It was originally closed in both directions, but it's just eastbound now. Main A10 carriageway, north and southbound, looking okay on the sensors this morning. No reported problems on the motorways and no delays to tell you about for trains across the three counties. I'm James Worley, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, James. 6:16, it's Wednesday the 25th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The A10 remains closed in Hertfordshire this morning following a crash and lorry fire at Hoddesdon last night. And in sport, Watford return to winning ways with a 3-0 victory over Rotherham.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 12. Local people.
Wendy Howson and David Shipley, the trustees of the Harpenden charity Spotlight on Africa.
So privileged to see lives change, conditions change.
Local stories.
A deaf cafe will be popping up in Bedford later this month, opening its doors for you to share sensitive stories and talk of afterlife.
There are people with similar concerns. And you can have a light-hearted side of it as well, and we often end like that, you know.
Local life.
We're going to be heading off into the unassuming countryside of Bedfordshire.
We all know the brick pits and the industrial spoil that marked the Marston Vale.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
We're supposed to go to
Dapper
Dealey for some dapper laughs, and he's not there. Where are you? This is what Justin sounds like. Nothing. He's not there.
Frightened him with my text.
Well, this is... Hang on a second. Let's just see if he's here. Hang on.
Negotiated or approved centrally or by the individual member states.
Oh, boring! That's Radio 4! Flippin' heck, they're not about to play 5 different versions of the same song, are they?
Who is then?
Dealey!
Hey, boss.
Hey, where have you been?
Well, what do you mean, where have I been?
Well, let me ask that question again.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
I've been to Harpenden this morning.
Yeah.
I've been in the office editing.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm on the cold, mean and dark streets. Next.
All right, we're going to play a little... you're the musical expert here.
Well, not quite, but I did enjoy what you did earlier on, Dancing in the Street. Great.
Well, have a listen to this. See if you can guess what... We're going to play the intro of some songs, OK? I want you to see if you can tell me what the song is, OK?
Yep.
Here we go. First one.
Is that the Mamas and Papas?
Yeah, and what are they doing?
Is it Creaky Alley?
Sorry?
Creaky Alley?
No, keep listening. OK, you got the artist, but not the song.
Yep.
OK, so...
Some clues, come on.
No. Well, we're going to... Let's
Move to the next one. That's one down.
OK.
So, artist... song. I'm going to do a little thing. So you got the artist, but you did not get the song there. Okay.
This is like the good old days of the competitions.
Yeah, exactly. And
I've got a year's supply of something to give away.
And by the way, we could be paying for your wedding. Right, have a listen. Who is this and what is the song, please?
Okay. Oh, that's Dancing in the Street.
Yeah, but who's singing it?
Oh.
Who is it,
Local and vocal, that is Cilla Black.
Okay, refuses to come on this station. Excellent stuff. I'll give you one there. And
I
one
thought you were
there.
going to say it was Kate Robbins.
No.
Well, it could have been Catherine, because she can do the voice. Okay, who is this? And what song is it?
Ooh, and again.
Right, you want that one again? It's
Yeah,
a good
please.
one, isn't it? It's good. Hang on a second, let's just cue it up. Right. What's the song? And
obviously, it's Dancing in the Street again.
Okay, well done. You got that.
I've got that bit.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue who sings it though, because I heard about half a second of it.
Okay. Well, you heard a bit more than that, mate.
Give him a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, come on. Is that the Beatles?
No. It's terrible singing.
I haven't got a clue.
It's the Kinks.
Is that the Kinks?
Okay, who's this? And what is the song, please?
I think it's Dancing in the Street.
You got that one,
It's
yeah?
already
Okay.
better than Jagger and Bowie.
Who is it? You'd like this version. Hey, this isn't bad, is it?
It's somebody American, I can tell you that much.
No, it's someone very, very English.
No. It's not Tony Blackburn, is it?
No, it's not.
Can I give you a clue?
Give us a clue.
It should be action. Superman!
What, Laurie Anderson?
Push by an apple, shake the tree.
It's what you like to wear on a weekend.
Absolutely dreadful, this version.
It is like a karaoke. It's Black Lace.
Oh,
Okay,
dear,
final one
dear
for
me.
now.
Okay.
What's the song and who is it?
It's going to be epic.
Oh, I know this. Reggae style.
Is it Carl Malcolm?
Ready to let it happen to you tonight?
Oh man, I'm so tired.
What's the song and who is it?
I think it's Dancing in the
Okay,
Streets.
okay.
But a reggae artist, you're saying it's not Carl Malcolm?
Well, it's not a reggae artist.
He's doing it in a reggae style.
Do it now.
He's more of a jazz singer, I'd say.
D.
Who is this?
Come on, Dealey.
No, seriously.
Come on.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh, is that Engelbert?
No! The American Engelberts.
Yeah.
One of the greatest living songwriters of all times.
Just think about
Neil Diamond.
Ladies and gentlemen.
the only man who does up fewer buttons than Dealey.
Hey, listen, I'm a changed man nowadays.
Oh,
you know
really?
that. You know that.
Well, okay.
When was the last time I was showing off a nipple in the office?
Oh, for
a
goodness
long time ago.
sakes. We'll come back to you after this, Justin. Speak to you in a second. BBC Three Counties Radio. Catherine's here.
I am.
We'll go through the papers in a bit. But before that, we've got Justin Dealey standing outside in the cold, having a little
track.
It's a good track.
XTC?
Well spotted,
Yes.
boss. Yes, well spotted.
Enjoyed that.
Now, if you admitted breaking into more than 30 homes, not you, Justin, although I don't know, you'd expect to do a little bit of bird, right? Wouldn't
Yes,
you? You'd
yes.
think so. Well, wrong. A burglar from Harpenden did just that, but he won't be going to jail. Instead, he'll get help kicking the drug habit that's been fueling his very, very naughty ways. Justin, you've got the details. What's happening? What is... well. You don't sound very happy about it. Tell us about this rehabilitation.
Unbelievable story. The judge told Sylvanus Mason he could expect a 36-month community order. He must complete 200 hours of community service. He's also had a 6-week curfew enforced. Now, on top of this, he was ordered to participate in a thinking skills programme, carry out 25 days of education and training to improve his maths and skills, despite committing 32 burglaries.
And what about the programme itself? How does it work?
Well, it's the Choices and Consequences programme, which is unique to Hertfordshire. Basically, the scheme is designed to help prolific non-violent offenders who have a problem with addiction. Now, in this scheme, the judge, he gives a custodial sentence. He then suspends it so the person can then participate and complete the scheme. But, and here's the big but, they do have the power to re-sentence an offender. So if they break those conditions, they could go to jail. But of course, for the time being, the person we're talking about isn't going to jail.
It's a significant number of burglaries. How do we know the figure?
It does seem high. I mean, there is a reason for this. A requirement of this course makes sure the person comes clean, if you like, so that they have to plead guilty for the offences that they were caught for. In this case, it was owning up to previous burglaries. It was stolen goods, theft, and 2 burglaries. On top of this, and this is why it's high, he did come clean, he was honest, and he asked for 32 additional burglaries to be taken into consideration.
You've taken it to the streets of Harpenden this morning.
Yes.
I think I can imagine what people have been saying.
Yep, I've been in Harps bright and early this morning.
Where?
Harpenden. People not happy about this. Here's what they had to say.
You should be going to prison. You know, if you commit crimes, he's put 32 houses in misery. So, you know, end of the day, he should be punished for that. You know, drug habit is an easy way out. I mean, you know, getting away with it, getting community service or whatever he's getting is an easy way out. So,
Do you not have any sympathy for him at all? Because we can all have a bad time in our life and fall into the wrong crowd and then get involved with drugs potentially. No sympathy there at all?
No sympathy at all. Nothing. No sympathy for the drug addicts, especially, you know, these hardcore drugs these days. They should be taken off the street, simple as.
32 burglaries and so
32.
Right. I think it's quite shocking. There's got to be a better outcome, and prison has to be the only suitable option, I would say.
It does sound crazy on the face of it, doesn't it? But that's the world we live in at the moment.
I think it's wrong, yeah. 32, yeah. Means 32 times he done it intentionally, yeah. So he should go to the jail, yeah.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Hoddesdon, on the A10 Link Road, eastbound between the A10 and Hoddesdon, there's been a lorry fire. So there's emergency repairs going on, meaning that's closed eastbound from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards the Sun roundabout. On the A1 southbound, it's starting to look quite slow from the Holiday Inn towards the Stirling corner on the speed sensors. In High Wycombe, though, the A40 Oxford Road's moving fine through the roadworks between Oxford Street and both directions there. And on the motorways, the M25 anti-clockwise is starting to build up between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. No reports of any delays at the moment on the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The A10 Link Road at Hoddesdon remains closed this morning following yesterday evening's crash involving a lorry and 2 cars. A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme. The new regulations are to be announced by the government today, making it easier to prosecute companies responsible for nuisance marketing calls.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford returned to winning ways in the Championship last night with a 3-0 home win over Rotherham. Odion Ighalo scored twice with Troy Deeney also on target. And with all the promotion chasers winning, the Hornets remain 6th, 6 points behind leaders Derby. Here's manager Slavisa Jokanovic.
They play with many long ball. We try to stop this problem with little bit different structure, little different players what I use. Plus the last game, at the end we keep one clean sheet, scored 3 goals. we can score some goal more.
In the Champions League, 2 goals from Luis Suarez gave Barcelona a 2-1 win at Manchester City in the first leg of their last 16 tie. It could have been worse for City, but Joe Hart saved Lionel Messi's late penalty. His manager, Manuel Pellegrini.
Well, very important. I think it was a very important save because first was a very unnecessary penalty. I think that we must control our emotion inside the box. That gives us more chances to try to win there in Barcelona. 3-1 is a very difficult score to try to reverse, but I think that we can have more chances with that penalty.
Tonight in the Champions League, it's Arsenal versus Monaco. In League One, there were wins for all Milton Keynes Dons, promotion rivals. The Dons remained second, but are 5 points behind leaders Bristol City and just 2 points ahead of third place Swindon, with Preston a further point behind. Meanwhile, the Dons' trip to Swindon on Good Friday has been put back to 12:15 on Easter Saturday for live television coverage. In League Two, Luton's opponents on Saturday, Accrington, beat leaders Burton 1-0, and Hatters striker Paul Benson played a full 90 minutes for the development squad yesterday in his first game back following a broken leg. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
The first to break the story yesterday, and the papers have picked up on it, but you heard it here first, that chump that plays that pervert in that film isn't going to be in the next 2 films.
Do you think he really won't, though, or is he after more money or something?
Well, it was
he's contractually obliged, isn't he?
50 Shades of Grey star Jamie Dornan will not be in the sequel because, and this is the nonsense excuse, his wife did not approve of his explicit sex scenes.
So she didn't know what was going to happen.
Doing a film, love. Oh yeah, what's it called? 50 Shades of Grey? Oh, I've never heard of that. I've got no idea what it's about, and I'm not going to research it. Amelia Warner is said to have been upset by his raunchy lead role as kinky businessman Christian Grey. Jamie, 32, has also been left reeling by some scathing reviews which claimed his performance was dreary. That's what it was. His performance was dreary, and it was an awful, awful movie. That's why.
He didn't really do an awful lot of raunch, did he? Really?
One film insider said Jamie told Amelia the movie would skyrocket his career and tried to assure her nothing would change. But women all over the world now lust after him. No. She hasn't seen the film, and I don't think she will. Yeah,
she gets a live performance. Why would she see the film?
Judging by the type of women we saw in the cinema, she ain't got nothing to worry about. If those are the women that are lusting after him, they wouldn't be able to catch him. Take them 10 minutes to get out of the chair. He'll be gone by then. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Thank you very much indeed. Justin, well, hey, maybe Dealey could audition for it.
Oh my goodness.
Dealey could be up for it.
Hang on.
Yes?
Christian Grey's supposed to be suave, restrained, debonair.
What do you reckon, Kels?
Yeah, he's already got the playroom.
50 Shades of Deals. That would be just horrific. I'd be worried I'd see his bare buttocks.
You'd see everything, as long as the lighting was right.
He turned up first day of shooting. Sorry, Mr. Dealey, why have you brought no clothes with you? Don't need them. Are we going to get started?
He'd have to sign off each shot.
Yeah. Where do you want me?
Oh dear. Well, it's disappointing for lots of middle-aged single women.
I mean, he was very pretty, but flipping heck. Have you seen this story about a flag collector who apparently doesn't know what a swastika means?
Oh yeah, go on.
A flag collector apologised yesterday after causing outrage by flying a Nazi standard above his home.
Oh.
Martin Baker claims he had no idea of the significance of the red and black flag of the Waffen-SS, even though it's got a massive swastika in the middle of it.
Well,
the infamous armed wing of Hitler's Nazi party. He raised the flag on Friday at a pole in his home in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, but took it down the next morning due to the angry reaction of his neighbours and on social media. Mr. Baker, 54, said, "I want to say sorry to everyone who might have been upset by my flag. The phone started ringing and people were telling me about anger it was causing on Facebook. They said I should take it down straight away. I'm not part of any right-wing group. I'm not a fascist. I Googled it and realised I'd dropped a massive blunder." Only after Googling, what does a swastika mean?
A swastika?
A swastika.
Swastika. The thing, of course, is that...
What a pudding.
That, we all know that Hitler corrupted the swastika, and it's actually... Is it a Sikh or Hindu?
I thought it was Hindu.
It's
but the Greeks used it as well, didn't they?
It's a Hindu sign for peace and healing, I think. I remember going to Japan. It's something to do with Japanese Shinto as well. going to Japan and we bought something at a temple and it came in a swastika bag.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's a little bit... but it's reversed. But yeah, he corrupted it.
But still, the red and the black bit, a bit of a giveaway. He reckons he collects flags, but he didn't know what it meant. Why are you flying it then, you puddin'?
Safari mum clobbered by 2-ton Randy Rhino.
Yeah, and she's furious, isn't she? She didn't know a safari park was dangerous.
This story by Martin Fricker. A sex-crazed rhinoceros rammed a young mum's car at a safari park after mistaking it for a mate. Blimey, you get that stuck to your exhaust, that's going to cost a fortune to get out, isn't it? The 2-ton beast attacked the 4x4 as terrified Vicky Liggins and her 19-month-old daughter Evelyn cowered inside.
Gosh, you don't get many 19-month-old Evelyns these days, do you?
Vicky said, I didn't notice the rhino behind my car. It was going for the exhaust until it hit the vehicle with its horn. Blimey. That was the problem. We were absolutely petrified. It was sniffing... well, this is my technique. It was sniffing the back of the car. It then shunted us from behind with such force the back wheel lifted off the ground.
Hang on. She didn't see it, but she knows it was sniffing the back of the car.
Back to 50 Shades of Grey. That scene actually happened, if I remember it correctly.
It did.
A Save the Rhino charity spokesman said the rhino was displaying typical courtship behaviour when it battered the grey Mitsubishi Warrior. I thought the rhino was going to pierce my back panel.
Wow.
My daughter was in tears. The sad thing is, she loves animals. I dread to think what would have happened if we'd been in a smaller, lighter vehicle. Now,
Wouldn't have fancied it.
This is the problem, right? Now she says, now she wants barriers to separate rhinos and cars, and she urged people to understand the dangers of safari parks.
What she's designing there is a zoo.
Everybody understands the dangers of safari parks. If you drive your car into a safari park, there are signs everywhere saying, "Oh, it might get damaged." Yeah. It's like what's the one up here? Whipsnade.
Woburn.
Where the monkeys, and it's funny because you're kind of taking a risk, and you take off your aerials, you take all your bits and pieces off, but. When we went in there with the boys in the summer, they were completely tearing cars to pieces.
And seriously, they've learnt techniques, those monkeys. Yeah. I used to work at Woburn, and
There's a monkey.
The number of times we used to see people coming in with bits of rubber that had been picked off by the monkeys.
Yep.
Just be aware that they know what they're doing.
Everyone knows the
only thing they haven't got is a spanner. If they had a spanner, they'd go for the whole lot.
Yeah. 08459 455 555. Now, we gave Kelly Betts free play.
Thanks.
And you've chosen a song.
I have.
You worried me slightly.
Why?
Because normally you go for something like Doris Day or Ray Charles or Dean Martin, and you said, can I play a new one?
Yeah.
See, I think everyone should just stop making music now. We've got enough music in the world. I'm never going to listen to all of the music that's there, so why don't we just stop?
I think we've pretty much done all the songs, haven't we?
We've done all the songs.
I think you'll like this one, though.
You reckon?
Do you? Yeah.
Well, should we give it a go?
Shall I tell you about it, or do you just want to play it?
Should we go in naked?
Let's go in blind.
That's what I meant.
You're so clever, I'm so dumb. I need less of me in me and more of you in me. You're so healthy, I'm so junk. I need less of me in me and more of you in me. So give me a little bit of you. Let me have your body and talk like you do. Let me be as gorgeous, as stylish, as rich. I wonder, I worry, I wish I had perfect skin. I wish I was tall and thin. I wish I wore gorgeous clothes with muscles surrounding my bones. I wish I had perfect skin. You're so gorgeous, I'm so grim. I need less of me in me and more of you in me. You're just perfect, I'm so hit. I need less of me in me and more of you in me. Give me a
goes on.
I'm not worthy. Have you seen me? Have you heard me? All I need from you is
yeah. That was.
He needs to stop putting himself down.
He does. I quite like that. You're right, Kels. That was good.
Thanks. I thought you would.
What did Dealey call it?
An ego turntable anthem.
Okay, Ricky's in London Colney. Ricky, technically, you shouldn't really be listening to us, but we'll let this one slide. What have you got for us, Rick?
Iain, you disappoint me.
Why? Oh, I disappoint most people every morning, Ricky.
Oh.
You should be listening to Paul Ross on BBC London 94.9.
I'm not growing tired of Paul Ross and Penny Smith, but
they're rubbish,
there's
aren't they?
somebody else on there prior to them that I'm beginning to get a little bit cross with.
James Max?
I never said that.
No, but he's. I went to a Spice Girls concert with James Max.
Blimey.
Yeah, tell me about it. What have you got? He nicked it all from me anyway. What have you got, Ricky? What do you want?
Anything by Foreigner.
Sorry?
Anything by Foreigner, if you could play, please. Or Mike and the Mechanics.
Okay.
Do you think this is Graham Torrington?
Sorry, say again?
Okay, well, I tell you what, listen. Yeah, go on. What do you want? Give us. What do you want by Foreigner?
Waiting for a Girl Like You.
Oh.
Waiting for a girl like you to come into my life. All right, Ricky, I tell you what, we don't normally do this, but I like the sound of you, Ricky. So tell you what, why don't you introduce it? You can be a DJ for the day. Introduce, we've got it queued up, Foreigner and Waiting for a Girl Like You. Away you go.
This is Foreigner and Waiting for a Girl Like You.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel.
Thank you, Ricky.
Hasenbemp Incorporated. We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. Nothing's gonna turn us back now. Straight ahead and on the track now. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. There's nothing we won't try. Never heard the word impossible this time. There's no stopping us. We're gonna do it. On your mark, get set, and go now. Got a dream and we just know now. We're gonna make that dream come true. And we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Make our dreams come true. And we'll do it our way, yes, our way. Make our dreams come true. For me and you.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Between Hoddesdon and the A10, that has been shut on the A10 Link Road eastbound. So that's from the A10 towards Hoddesdon, from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards the Sun roundabout. It's because of a lorry fire earlier on, and now there's emergency repairs going on. On the A405 North Orbital Road at Bricket Wood, that's starting to look very busy around the M25 junction 21A roundabout. Looking at the M25 anti-clockwise, it's building up from junction 17 for Maple Cross to 16 for the M40. And on the M1 southbound, that's looking very slow from junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road towards junction 9 for Redbourne. On the train departure boards, no major delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. 6:46. It's Wednesday, the 25th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. A burglar from Harpenden, who admitted more than 30 offences, has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme. And in sport, Watford returned to winning ways with a 3-0 victory over Rotherham. Coming up, Justin Dealey talks astrology and balls as well, by the likes of it. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Quite a damp start for some of us this morning. We have some kind of quite heavy drizzle out there, but it is moving south and eastwards. A bit misty and murky to start with, but then it should turn mostly dry. We will get 1 or 2 breaks in the cloud this afternoon as well, and all this drizzle has pulled in some milder air. So in the sunshine, when it's dry a bit later, it is going to feel quite nice. The maximum temperature getting up to 10 Celsius, that's 50 degrees in Fahrenheit. The cloud, though, is going to thicken as we head towards the evening, so bringing with it some cloud tonight. Outbreak breaks of light rain and drizzle, a bit of mist and fog, particularly higher ground, Chilterns, the Downs. We could get a little bit misty and murky out there. The rain quite light though, minimum temperature barely dropping down at all. Many places staying in double figures, so a really mild night, perhaps the minimum being 6 or 7 Celsius in the countryside. So for tomorrow morning, a mild start to Thursday, and we're going to get our maximum temperature for tomorrow fairly early on in the day of 11 Celsius. Some rain moving through, some quite heavy rain, but it should clear out of the way by lunchtime, after which it's going to get quite cold. So that maximum temperature is slowly going to decrease as we head through the afternoon. And that's your forecast.
Three Counties Sport isn't just about hearing your team in action.
Come to Vitra! It's 4! Tom Penn into the top right-hand corner.
It's about the managers.
It always seems that the closer we get to the top, decisions start to go against us.
The players.
You never get an easy game in the Championship, home or away, usually, and it'll be no different this weekend. And we're pretty confident at the moment.
And the fans.
Two teams there who deserve to be in the top three, who deserve to go up as well at the same time.
Every day, we bring you latest news on your local team.
In League Two, Luton lost their appeal against skipper Steve McNulty's red card on Tuesday, so he starts a 4-match ban.
Three Counties Sport, keeping you up to date with Luton, Watford, MK Dons, Stevenage and Wickham every day of the week on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm loath to push button 6 because the last time I did, Ricky called, but let's try it.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I wonder how long Ricky's been listening.
Not long, I'd suggest.
Probably switched off now. You're right, Jazz.
And he also said Penny Smith, well, she stopped presenting the breakfast show at London about 2 years ago.
Who does it now?
Who does it now? That's a very good point. I should know.
No, we should. It might be someone good.
No, it's not.
Now, here's this is a really weird story. Weathermen storm out, in row over pay. Forecasts may not be as accurate, union warns. Tomorrow, this is the weirdest strike. Who gives us, with the greatest of respect to our colleagues, who gives us stuff? Tomorrow's forecast is for high winds, showers and industrial action. That's good, isn't it? Well done, Ben Spencer, the science reporter, as Met Office staff are planning a walkout over pay. Hundreds of... it is Penny Smith.
OK.
Hundreds, so you were wrong.
Say sorry to Penny.
Sorry, Penny.
Say sorry to Ricky.
Sorry, Ricky.
Say sorry to Paul.
Sorry, Paul.
Hundreds of meteorologists, climatologists and guessers are expected to strike for the first time in living memory. They warn the action could affect the accuracy of forecasts. As staff in... this is a big strike. Listen to this, actually. As staff in Exeter, Aberdeen and Edinburgh leave their desks for 3 hours.
Wow.
They just have an extended lunch.
3 hours, you just got to look out your window.
They're just having an extended lunch.
What's up with those guys? Mind you, in saying that, if I went out onto the street this morning, and, as funny as you can be, occasionally, if I said to people, what's the thing that you enjoy listening to the radio for? A lot of people would say the weather.
Enjoy? Enjoy?
Yeah, they enjoy listening to the weather.
This is great. I mean, there really are chances. A spokesman said most of our members are the specialists. The chances of anything going wrong during that period are not high, but it is a possibility. The union has, however, agreed that members will work if there is a severe weather event. This is brilliant! Forecasts depend on the Met Office model for accuracy. That model runs for... Oh, for goodness sakes. Oh, dear. OK, yep, that's that.
Wow. Hey, Justin, here's one kind of selfie you won't be able to do.
Go on.
Bad news. Supermodel Giselle did it, then the pop singer Gwen Stefani followed suit. Now it seems photographs of mothers breastfeeding their babies, known as brelfies, are becoming a trend.
Oh, yes.
Which is exactly why I wouldn't have done one. 1 in 5 new mothers has taken pictures of themselves breastfeeding, and even more are planning to, according to the parenting forum NetMums. Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? New mothers also firmly back the right to post breastfeeding images on social networking sites, with 88% saying companies should not attempt to delete them on the grounds of indecency. Right, as someone who's done it, I don't necessarily want to see anyone else doing it, and, I believed in being kind of discreet about it. And I wouldn't whack it up on the internet.
But everyone's different. I think it's quite nice.
It's a really intimate moment.
it
It's
is.
between you and the baby.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Well,
But I just
I wouldn't do it to make a point.
People are proud, though, aren't they? People are very, very proud. And we've heard these stories before. Well, we've heard various stories before of people posting them and them being taken down, people outraged. I don't understand why anybody would be offended by that, but there you go.
Well, not offended, but I also don't understand why anyone would post one.
Yeah.
Deals, has your agent been in touch?
No, why?
Because I want you fired. But also...
What?
Put that to one side. We'll discuss that off air. Jamie Dornan. Christian Grey, he's stepping down, mate. And there are 2 more films that need to be made.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Would you be up for it?
I would. Well, I would be up for it, yes. But the deal would have to be right. I would obviously play the role, but I would have to have some sort of say over the scenes, obviously.
You want it harsher?
Yes.
And you want it signed off, so to speak.
Yep.
This is what we want to send you out on, Justin.
I think I know what's coming, and it's utterly ridiculous.
This guy's brilliant. What's his name? Tredinnick. He's on the front page of the Mirror. What's his name? David Tredinnick. I wonder if this is an old story, because I remember talking about this about 3 months ago. He pops up from time to time. And
Is he Cornish? Is that a Cornish name?
Possibly. I've spoken to him, and he's a good bloke, but he's a plum. Worried about your health? Time to see your astrologer. A Tory MP has claimed astrology could have a role to play in healthcare. David Tredinnick said looking at the stars could highlight patients' susceptibility to certain conditions. And he branded critics of astrology as racially prejudiced.
What?
I'm a racist again. He told the Astrological Journal that scientists who oppose the idea that the movement of celestial bodies can affect people's lives on Earth were superstitious and I'm superstitious and ignorant for not believing this nonsense.
For not believing superstition.
And the MP for Bosworth, also a supporter of homeopathy, said he believed opposition to astrology can be deeply offensive to people in Asian communities.
What?
He says, one more quote, because this is his reference to the NHS. I do believe that astrology and complementary medicine would help take huge pressure off doctors. 90% of pregnant French women use homeopathy. Astrology is a useful diagnostic tool, you're a tool, enabling us to see strengths and weaknesses via the birth chart.
Yes.
Flipping it.
I read my stars occasionally, and I read them for a laugh. I don't know too much about astrology. All I know is, for me, it's fun. This idea of a so-called birth map and the NHS using it, I think most people this morning, hearing that story, would think it's April the 1st, because most people are going to laugh at this story.
It's rubbish.
But I'm not an expert in that field.
No, OK. Well, I don't think anybody is, because guess what, guys? It's all made up. Just, can you take astrology to the streets?
Of course I will do, boss. No problem at all.
Speak to you later.
Yesterday had nothing to say. Tomorrow may bring me a thought. Today was here, now it's turned into fear. If it's with you, then I should stay. Sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call. And wonder why I'm wondering at all. Yesterday, you gave me my way. Tomorrow, I'm gonna give you yours. Today we shared in each other's affair. Now there's really nothing left for me to say. Sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call. Sit and wonder why I'm looking for a meaning. Sit and wonder why I'm wondering at all. day. Had nothing to say. Tomorrow may bring me a thought. Today was here, now it's turned into fear. If it's with you that I should stay, sit and wonder why I'm leaving. Sit and wonder if you'll call. Sit and wonder why I'm looking for a meaning. Sit and wonder why I'm wondering at all.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Hoddesdon on the A10 link road, that's still closed eastbound between the Hoddesdon roundabout and the Sun roundabout because of a lorry fire earlier, and there's emergency repairs and inspections work going on. In Aston Rowant on the B4009, that's been shut in partially blocked in both directions because of an accident between a single-decker bus and a car between the M40 at junction 6 for Watlington and the A40, so on the stretch where it goes underneath the M40 near the entry slip road to join it. On the M25 anti-clockwise, it's very slow between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40, and looking at the A1M southbound on the cameras, that is looking very busy around junction 7 for the A602 at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. Very Contrary on Twitter says, yes, astrology is a useful diagnostic tool. 100% of people that believe that stuff are diagnosed with gullibleness. Is that gullible? Gullibility? I don't know. It doesn't really... It doesn't matter.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: anti-terror workshop for Muslim women in Luton, prolific Hertfordshire burglar escapes jail, and Watford back to winning ways.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The Making a Stand event is just one of a number taking place across the country. More from Barry Caffrey.
The event's being organised by Inspire, a counter-extremism and human rights organisation. It's calling on Muslim women to stand in solidarity and challenge those who preach hatred. It wants to stop extremists brainwashing young people and reject the threat of terrorism by taking action in local communities.
A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in rehabilitation. 31-year-old drug addict Sylvanus Mason was told by a judge at St Albans Crown Court that he was being given a chance to turn his life around as part of Hertfordshire's Choices and Consequences programme. These people in Harpenden don't agree.
You should be going to prison. If you commit crimes, he's put 32 houses in misery.
There's got to be a better outcome, and prison has to be the only suitable option, I would say.
32, yeah, means 32 times he done it intentionally, yeah, so he should go to the jail, yeah.
The A10 link road at Hoddesdon remains closed this morning following yesterday evening's crash involving a lorry and two cars. The crash happened just after 6:30. The lorry caught fire. Hertfordshire police say safety checks have to be carried out on a bridge which was struck. The road could be closed until at least 8:30. More women are to be employed at the Yarlswood Immigration Centre in Bedfordshire after complaints that female asylum seekers have been routinely humiliated by men working there. A number of staff were sacked last year after more than 30 allegations of sexual misconduct. Labour's Deputy Leader Harriet Harman, who was visiting Bedford yesterday, says they'd rather have fewer people held in detention centres.
We'd rather see fewer people detained. We'd rather see a strong border force so that we don't have people that we need to then have deported.
Police are making a fresh appeal for witnesses after the death of a man following a crash on the M1 in Hertfordshire on Sunday morning, which closed the motorway southbound for several hours. The man in his 60s who died in hospital on Monday was a passenger in a Renault Clio, which was in collision with a Vauxhall Astra just before the turn-off for the M25. A second passenger, a woman in her 50s, remains in a critical condition. New regulations are to be announced by the government today, making it easier to prosecute companies responsible for nuisance marketing calls. There have been only a handful of prosecutions elections, in spite of more than 175,000 complaints made last year. In sport, Watford returned to winning ways in the Championship last night.
Deeney takes a touch, he might fall to Iain. Onto his left foot, and Colin fumbles it, and Igalo is going to touch it home for a third goal. Odion Igalo in the right place at the right time. It's Watford 3, Rotherham 0.
And in the Champions League, 2 goals from Luis Suarez gave Barcelona a 2-1 win at Manchester City in the first leg of their last 16 tie. The weather, any rain will clear away eastwards this morning to leave some sunny intervals, a maximum temperature 10 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you very much, Simon. Morning. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Busy show this morning. Stuff going on in Luton to encourage Muslim women to well, I'm not quite sure what it's encouraging them to do, Catherine.
To stand up against extremism.
Ah, OK. And how are they going to do that? OK. Also, David Tredinnick, who's a Tory MP, and he's one of my favourite MPs. He pops up every few months with this nonsense that if people looked at their astrological charts more, it would take pressure off of the NHS. Oh, guys, come on. Who cares where Uranus is?
Ask your doctor.
08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's the front page of the Mirror. It's funny how some different papers treat this differently. Obviously, the Daily Mirror is more Labour-leaning, so they've gone front page on this attack against a Tory MP, and some of the more Tory newspapers have kind of got it as a smaller story. It's interesting, isn't it? Just as we're getting closer to the election, I'm noticing all of these little tricks and games, what they do play. A Tory MP has bizarrely claimed that astrology can solve the appalling NHS crisis. David Tredinnick, who, as a Capricorn, is meant to be down to earth, said consulting the stars would take huge pressures off doctors. He also suggested that people who dismiss astrology tend to be racially prejudiced. Or just, I've got a bit of common sense and like science. Manu's on the line. Morning, Manu.
Hey, morning, Iain.
Hey, and you're a proper doctor.
Yeah.
What do you think? Could us...
Well, you've forgotten to ask the most important question.
What?
What's your sign, Manu?
Oh, yeah. What sign are you, man? Who?
Libra.
Oh, Libra, like my mum.
Fair.
I've got no idea what that means.
Balanced.
You find it difficult to make decisions, don't you?
I guess.
Yeah, you go, you see. Manu, the astrology, it turns out that Mystic Meg and all of those other chancers could make your job easier.
Well, I don't know about that, Iain, but what I can say about astrology, I mean, you mentioned in the newspaper article the MP saying that it could be, if people who discount it, could be offensive to some people.
Yeah.
And I'm Hindu, and in Hinduism, when you're born, you have a full birth chart, and it's quite attached to Hinduism in a way.
Yeah.
And I could see people being offended if that belief is sort of questioned. But that's the nature of belief, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
but it's not the same. It's not the same as me. And boy, oh boy, the Hindus have got some awesome gods, haven't they? All the arms and the heads and stuff. But it's not.
It depends on which branch of Hinduism.
Oh no, there are branches. But it's not the same as me saying, "Hey, to Muslims, Muhammad, that's all made up," or Jesus, that's all. To Christians, that's all made up. Why it's acceptable to think that? It's questioning astrology. Is not the same as questioning an actual religion, is it?
Well, you're questioning a belief that has very little science behind it at the end of the day.
Yep.
And, I mean, religion can sometimes enter that. I've always thought belief and, fact are two separate things. You can believe what you want.
Yeah.
But you can't test what you want without, you can't... If something's testable...
Hang on a minute, man. Let's cut to the chase. You're a doctor, man of science. Do you believe in astrology?
I believe it helps people. I don't believe it personally, but I do. I've seen it help people in a way.
Oh yeah,
because it gives them something to feel good about. And
like a placebo.
Yeah.
It's okay. I can understand it's comforting, but then I think those people that are comforted by astrology, well, if you're going to get comforted because of the position of Uranus compared to the sun, well, then I'm going to keep doing that joke all morning, Manu. then really, there's something lacking in your life, isn't there?
Well, I mean, that's quite a broad statement. It depends.
I'm in that kind of mood today.
No,
I'm in that kind of mood. Manu, I've got to move on. Always good to talk to you. I like he's becoming a regular caller. Proper doctor.
I kind of wish I did believe in someone looking after me.
Well, I'll look after you. What do you want?
No,
sandwich? I'll go to the garage and buy a sandwich.
So
I'll go and buy a coffee after the show.
There was a
If you're hungry, I'll look after you.
No, I mean like...
what do you want? Pasty?
No, it's not about...
I'll get you a bag of sweeties.
It's not about pastry.
I'll look after you, don't worry about it. It'll be absolutely fine.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, you can call in at any point, by the way. 08459 455 555. Now, a workshop aimed at tackling Islamic extremism through the community's women is taking place in Luton today. The Making a Stand campaign wants to provide mothers and sisters with the knowledge and confidence to spot and prevent radicalisation. Well, Sarah Khan is director of the non-government organisation Inspire, which is behind the event. Morning, Sarah.
Morning.
What is Inspire?
Well, Inspire is a counter-extremism and women's rights organisation, and we work very much on both those issues, really, looking at addressing extremism and also gender discrimination within Muslim communities.
So what's going to happen today?
Well, this is part of our Making a Stand campaign. We launched Making a Stand back in September, particularly after the brutal summer of violence, conducted at the hands of ISIS. And just around 100 women came from across the UK to attend that launch. We had 3 generations of women, and women wanted to speak out. They made very clear the sentiment that they wanted to make a stand and take the lead in challenging extremism and rooting out extremists who are preying on their children. And one of the response we had from women was, look, please come into our area, because we know there are more women that want to hear what you're saying and want to know how they can protect their children from being preyed on. And as we've seen just this last week with these 3 girls, that this sentiment of we understand that there's a problem and we want to do something about it. So this is part of a campaign that we're taking across the UK. We're going to 9 different cities, and today we'll be in Luton.
And what will happen today?
Well, a number of things. We're going to be holding a number of different workshops and discussions, but the main point of today really is to allow women, to give them that safe space to talk openly about extremism and how it impacts on them. So we were in Birmingham on Monday, for example, and just hearing some of the stories of women, they were sharing how extremism impacts their families, how it impacts their communities. They were sharing concerns about how they feel extremism is not being tackled within the community, what they feel should be done more. But also what we want to give women is practical tools of what they can do. So we want to equip them, for example, with theological counter-narratives to extremist ideology so they can have those discussions with confidence with their children. We want to be able to signpost them to relevant agencies, so if they've got concern, they know who to go to. But also to help them to recognise early signs of radicalisation as well, so that if they start to see noticing changes in their behaviour, not to ignore that, not to think, oh, it's nothing, but to act upon that much more. But also on a wider scale, just to mobilise women, on a wider scale, saying, listen, you can champion this work, and your voices in this work really matter.
Isn't part of the problem that a lot of these young people in particular have gone to Syria, and I'm thinking about the 3 girls and some gentlemen that were in the papers last week, is they kind of just go. There are no signs. They just up and go. All of the families in these cases have been or said that they're very shocked. Not our children. Our children would never do this. What happened? What went wrong?
I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think it was a question of, well, you didn't recognise maybe the signs. I mean, in my experience, having done this work for a number of years, and I've spoken to lots of different families whose children have become radicalised, who have committed, acts of terror, and I've spoken to those mothers, and they have always said to me, actually, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Looking back now, I did notice changes in my son or daughter's behaviour.
What are the signs, and what should people be looking out for?
I mean, just to give one example, I mean, the 3 girls, one of the girls that left East London to join, who is now in ISIS territory, century. One of the older sisters actually said over the weekend, I did have concerns about my sister, and I noticed changes in her behaviour. And I was so concerned that I went to East London Mosque because I felt like that this was worrying me. And I think this is the point that you can notice things. So, for example, some kids become really withdrawn, or we've had cases where teachers have told us, look, some students are doing really, really well, and then suddenly their grades have dropped, and they're starting to speak about things that we just, it's kind of warning bells. I mean, sometimes it might not be anything. Teenagers going through their teenage phase, rebellious phase. We've all been through that. We know that we all go through rebellious phase. But for us, what we're saying to women is, if you are concerned, if you notice changes in your children's behaviour, the way they're speaking, emotional issues, the way they're talking, the language, maybe you're seeing them going on certain sites and you're concerned about it, maybe it's the stuff they're talking about, then do something about it. And there are things that you can do. Not doing anything about it is the worst thing you can do.
If the young people are already talking about it, and I'm assuming that it might be perhaps the political issues that are perhaps slightly more aggressive or anti-Western issues or things like that, isn't it too late then, Sarah? Hasn't that seed already been planted in their heads?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I think, young people are exposed to all sorts of ideas all the time. And for me, I've seen it's the same whether you look at far-right extremists or Islamist extremists, is that you can actually combat their narrative. And we know that, for example, there are really successful de-radicalisation programmes, and people have been de-radicalised. People have been, their views have been challenged. And I think the key issue here is that their views are challenged. If their views are not being challenged, if they're not hearing a counter-argument, then that's where you're going to lose this debate. The point is, and this is what we're saying to women, is that you challenging their arguments and being equipped with the knowledge to do so is really quite fundamental in this.
I remember being as a teenager, having whatever political views I did, and my dad, we quite often we take the opposite stance to our parents, don't we? It's kind of a natural progression. And my dad arguing with me, and I was at 15, 16, 17, I wasn't listening at all. I was right. I knew everything. I was going to live forever. And that is a tough thing to overcome, isn't it?
It is. It's not easy, and I don't think anyone's going to say it's easy. My own personal view is that some of the women that I've spoken to have just said, and even it was said to me when we were in Birmingham on Monday, that, if my child was speaking to me, for example, about the concept of jihad, I wouldn't feel comfortable in being able to challenge that. And I think that's the key. It's about saying, look, the counter-arguments are all there. We want to teach some of you that today, but we want to upload more of that stuff on our website. But the point is to at least to have that debate happening. The fact that your father was having those discussions with you, that's important. If that's not happening at all, then you can just see how quite easy it is for a child just to go down that path. I mean, these three girls, for example, just the kind of information that's coming out, they didn't speak about these things with their parents at all. One of the fathers actually said, we just never talked about ISIS. And I think, for me, I find that strange. Why wouldn't you want to talk to your children about ISIS? If you're in a Muslim family and you know it's in the news almost every day, and you know that young people, around 600 young people, have left this country to join ISIS, why wouldn't you want to talk about it? I have two young children, and if they were older, I would definitely want to talk to them about this and understand, well, what do you think about this? And I think opening up those conversations with your children, as horrible as a topic ISIS is, I think is really quite important.
Sarah, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Sarah Khan, Director of Inspire, which is behind the event in Luton today. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Between the A10 and Hoddesdon, the A10 link road is still closed eastbound for emergency repairs after a lorry fire. So that's between the Hoddesdon roundabout towards the Sun roundabout. In Aston Rowant on the B4009, that's been partially blocked by an accident in both directions between the M40 junction 6 at Watlington and the A40. That's where it goes underneath the M40 near the entry slip road to join the M40 southbound. Looking at the motorways, the M25 anti-clockwise is very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford, and the A1M southbound's looking busy around junction 7 for the A602. On the train, Southern are reporting half-hour delays through London Bridge because of a signalling problem, and the 722 train from Bedford to Sevenoaks, that's the one calling through Luton at 7:46, has been cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thanks, Sammy. 7:16, Wednesday, the 25th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme. And in sport, Watford returned to winning ways with a 3-0 victory over Rotherham.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday morning.
Let me get on with your consumer problems.
Should I expect it to last as a £350 TV or a £250 TV?
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Have you gone back to the retailer? I went and spoke to the company that you'd paid the money to.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
So I emailed again and reminded them of the statutory rights, which I've heard in your programme.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
They've backed down and they have put in writing to me that I no longer owe the money.
And we could do the same for you.
That's fantastic news. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Your team is fantastic because you look after the people.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Astrology. Guys, come on. Next you'll be drawing pentagrams and reciting the Lord's Prayer backwards in an attempt to summon up Lord Beelzebub himself. It don't work. It's nonsense. It's all nonsense. And also, if it would work, how come we're discovering new planets and we're writing off things that we thought were planets that aren't planets? How is... I can't think of any other planets apart from Uranus. Give me a planet.
Pluto.
Yeah, Pluto's not a planet.
No, I know. They've written that one off.
Exactly. So, OK, Mercury. How is the position of Mercury going to affect whether I come into money or I'm having trouble with a relationship? Isn't astrology just people? We all like to think that there is some reason to this. There is some point in us being on this rock floating through space. There probably isn't. I think the meaning of life is be as nice to as many people as you can and listen to as much groovy music as you can. That's it. But we all like to think that there is a meaning, there is a higher power, a bigger purpose at work. So, hey, why not think that it's the other planets affecting us? Because the moon affects the tide, and we're 80% water. We're not. We're blood and bones. Don't get water in a bone, do you? Huh? Yeah. Thank you. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. If anybody can give me a convincing argument as to why the... have we got any texts on this? If anyone can give me a convincing argument as to why astrology works or does anything, I'd love it. I'd love it, but it doesn't.
I'd love it if we heard from someone who had something predicted and it came true.
Well, no, what they'll say is it's not about prediction. It can help guide you. Jog on, mate. Just take responsibility for your own actions.
Have a look in the paper today and let's see what we've got ahead.
Have you got any texts on this?
Yeah,
Well, I try and find.
Not on astrology. We've got some about. One from Snuffers who's quite excited about 50 Shades of J.
50 Shades of J-Dog, yes.
50 Shades of J would be amazing. Every scene starts with a confident stride into a room. Geezer!
Right, get that off.
He said every romantic scene interrupted by Justin naming each song of background music and in what year it was produced.
I tell you what, and where it got in the American charts. I tell you what was interesting was there are a lot of sexually aggressive lines in that film.
Yeah.
And I think you know which one I'm talking about particularly.
The ones that Justin liked the most.
Yeah. Well, he would lean over and go, "Yeah, I've used that one." Yeah, I've said that. Why is everyone laughing? I say that.
He told us how many times he'd used them as well.
The line about "I don't make love." That was.
He's used that once to great effect. Wow.
I've used that. I don't find this. Where do the stars live these days?
There were a lot of lines in that film where everyone laughed, and he couldn't.
He couldn't work out why people.
Hang on, let me just get the phone.
Oh, go on. He couldn't work out why people were laughing. Can't find the stars. Where are the stars in the mirror these days? I can tell I often... I remember when I started here, we used to have a young lady called Dashi working on the show. And it was... was it... Oh, no, it might have been Emma, actually, when Kelly and Emma were producing the show a lifetime ago. And at the end of each show, I've got it. At the end of each show, Kelly would and Emma would insist that we all read each other's stars. Oh, it was horrible. It was like being in the Diet Coke break ad. It was horrible. What are you?
Leo.
Keep all observation. This is Russell Grant. This is the main guy.
He's the main man, isn't he?
I like Russell. He's a nice bloke. But he does this. Keep all observations you make today to yourself.
What?
Discussing your suspicions with others might start a rumour.
Yeah.
A chat after work will be misleading. We're going out for lunch.
Oh.
You're paying?
No, you're paying.
No, you're paying.
Oh, hang on. No, you're paying.
No, you're paying.
No,
You're paying, thank you. Or a Facebook comment could strain a love tie.
Don't go on Facebook very much.
And don't. Love ties, 50 Shades. Everyone likes to be heard, but try not to talk too much today. Well, that's you out, Catherine.
I don't believe in that. I mean, not talking too much. I don't believe in astronomy, so I will be disregarding that. Sorry, Russell. But yeah, it's wise words, though, isn't it?
Mine.
Talking about your suspicions could start gossip.
Yeah. What star sign are you, Kaz?
Leo.
Oh,
Same
we
as.
just read it.
We both got to pipe down.
Yeah, keep quiet.
Whatever.
Mate? Russell Grant said it.
Who's he?
Oh.
Out. Me, Gemini. Others are willing to put important issues...
Stop. You need to do it over some special music.
Others... Is this not the right kind of music? Hang on.
Atmospheric music, I was thinking.
Hang on a minute. OK, here we go. Nope.
In 1960.
Nope.
No, 19.
Here we go.
Space music, yeah. Boom.
Others are willing to put... Oh, no, it's Radio 4. Hang on a second. Hang on.
He's not answering his phone. Try him again. Might answer it now. Might answer it for you.
Others are willing... Oh, I can't get rid of Radio 4. Here we go. Others are willing to put important issues into your hands. Well, that's never going to happen. This is a big responsibility, and you can't help wondering about their motives. You suspect that in leaving you to make all the decisions... Oh, no, do you know what? People can blame you if you get it wrong.
Yeah.
This is all the more reason to get it right. Oh, blimey, I'm having a chat later on. Oh, blimey. He's right. Russell's right. Flippin' heck. I've got an important meeting later on where I've got to make decisions. Oh, it might just be coincidence.
Yeah, probably.
You never know.
Dancing in the street. Oh, this is from Maffin Hanslope.
Yeah. Can you tell we're filling because a guest isn't answering their telephone? Have you noticed that, guys?
Isn't that a shame?
Have they noticed that?
No.
Guys? No one's noticed it. Okay.
All that dancing in the street reminds me that Hanslope still has its blinking Christmas lights up. It's the 25th of February. Any other towns or villages in the 3 counties as lazy? Maffin Hanslope. Still got your lights up? Call me now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ken has done the joke that we are all hoping to get. I don't believe in astrology, but hey, that's because I'm a Virgo. Yay! Ken! Come on, fella. Every now and then, Ken, you come in with... You just get the tone right. Can I say, the tweeters and the texters and the emailers and some of the callers have been... Well, they really have upped their game a little bit recently. We've had some good stuff.
We've annoyed all the ones who don't get it, that's why.
Yeah. That's why the figures are so low. I understand. I see. Yes. Grumpy Jamie's having a go at us on Twitter.
Is he having a go, though?
He's in Hampshire.
Just his tone.
He's in Hampshire.
What's the matter with him?
He can't hear us, so he's going to listen to a sports-based talk station instead.
Which one?
Sporty talk.
Sporty talk is the thing. So no guest answering the phone. That's a shame.
No, if you have a view on whether a burglar who admitted to more than 30 crimes should be in prison or, as he is, having rehab, call me now.
Tell us the story. Let's set the story up properly, and we can do it as a phone.
He might even ring in.
He might do.
He might be listening.
What's the story, Catherine?
Yesterday, he's got carried away.
Oh, really? Oh, in that case, fair play. If you got an MBE yesterday, fair play to him.
Yeah, he's not going to be answering.
Of course, he's not. Oh, good luck to him in that case. Sylvanus.
Yes. He's a fella from Harpenden who was in court for a couple of burglaries.
Yep.
And as part of a deal he made, it's something that they do in Hertfordshire specifically called Choices and Consequences, he had to hold his hands up to everything he'd done.
Yep.
And he admitted to more than 30... Is it 32 more offences?
32 burglaries, yeah.
So the judge decided that given the fact that he is a drug addict and he was stealing to fuel that habit, it would make more sense to get him clean than it would to get him into prison.
Yep.
Your thoughts, please.
And here's where I see the problem is, and I can see an obvious glaring mistake here.
You can't force someone to get clean.
Well, there are two glaring mistakes. You can't force someone to get clean, and I know plenty of people who have hit what many would consider, they've lost their wives, their jobs, they've almost died. There wasn't enough for them to stop, and people saying, "You've got to stop. You're going to die. You've got nothing left tomorrow." So you can't force them. But the other thing is that this drug rehabilitation should surely be available in prison. And it is in some prisons to a certain extent.
Depends how long you're in for, though, doesn't it?
I think it does, and it depends on what the prison's attitude is towards it, and funding as well, although lots of free groups go into prisons.
But then again, prison can also be a great way of starting a drug habit, can't it?
Yeah, it can be. But the drug rehabilitation, they should invest money in drug rehabilitation in prisons, because it would ultimately save money. If you get people clean in prisons, then it would save money. But a fella that's done 32 robberies, broken into 32 houses, I mean, I'm all for rehabilitation and alternative treatments in this case, this kind of case, but he's destroyed. He's significantly impacted on 32 families, and it would appear that he's getting off with it. I don't know. Your thoughts, please. 08459 455 555. Yeah, rehabilitate the fella. But when they've done as many crimes as that, surely you have to rehabilitate them and combine that with punishment, don't you? 08459 455 555. You can text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A10 Link Road eastbound between the A10 and Hoddesdon is still closed because of the earlier lorry fire and emergency repairs going on, so it's closed eastbound from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards the Sun roundabout. In Aston Rowans on the B4009, that's been partially blocked by an accident in both directions between the M40 junction 6 for Watlington and the A40 where it goes under the M40. In St Neots on the A1 southbound, it's very slow around the Black Cat roundabout, and also on the A428 eastbound in St Neots, that's stop between the Barford Road and the B1040 according to the speed sensors. On the motorways, the M1 southbound's very slow from junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road towards junction 9 for Redbourne, and on the M25 it's slow from junction 21 for the M1 towards 19 for Watford. On the train, Southern services are reporting half-hour delays because of a signalling problem at London Bridge. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The Making a Stand event is just one of a number taking place across the country. A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in rehabilitation. The A10 Link Road at Hoddesdon remains closed this morning following yesterday evening's crash involving a lorry and two cars. The new rules are to be announced, making it easier to prosecute firms responsible for cold calls. There were more than 175,000 complaints about nuisance calls and text messages last year, but only a few prosecutions.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford returned to winning ways in the Championship last night with a 3-0 home win over Rotherham. Odion Igalo scored twice, with Troy Deeney also on target. And with all the promotion chasers winning, the Hornets remain sixth, 6 points behind leaders Derby. Manager Slavisa Jokanovic felt the visitors didn't make it easy.
We find some problems at the beginning. It's a very physical game. They put us in under many pressure. We scored first goal. We were a little bit lucky. And after second, we find advantage for us, scored one more, and we can score some goal more.
In the Champions League, 2 goals from Luis Suarez gave Barcelona a 2-1 win at Manchester City in the first leg of their last 16 tie. It could have been worse for City.
This for 3-1 to Barcelona, and this at the end of the first leg will surely take Barcelona into the quarter-finals. Great save! Oh, great save from Hart, and then Messi heads it wide of an open goal, and it's just 2-1.
Tonight in the Champions League, it's Arsenal versus Monaco. In League One, there were wins for all Milton Keynes Dons promotion rivals. The Dons remained second, but are 5 points behind leaders Bristol City and just 2 points ahead of third place Swindon, with Preston a further point behind. Meanwhile, the Dons' trip to Swindon on Good Friday has been put back to 12:15 on Easter Saturday for live television coverage. In League Two, Luton's opponents this Saturday, Accrington, beat leaders Burton 1-0. Hatter striker Paul Benson played a full 90 minutes for the development squad yesterday in his first game back following a broken leg. And Milton Keynes Olympic long jump champion Greg Rutherford has reversed his decision to miss the European Indoor Championships. Rutherford set an indoor personal best in Birmingham recently and has been named in the squad to compete in Prague next month. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road is where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold. A brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we've paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roll.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I've got text. Do you want to have a look?
Yeah, go on, because we did all our filling up on that last bit with the fellow that was the guest that wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I'm completely on his side. If he got an MBE yesterday, then
he's got the right to not pick up the phone.
What would you if you got? Because James Caan, the dragon, not the actor. The Dragon got something in the yesterday with
badge.
The Queen. He got a badge from the Queen, a Jim will fix it badge. And what would you do? So you go to the palace to get an MBE, CBE, knighthood.
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do then? I obviously you'd wear it.
I'd lord it right up.
Yeah.
For a week.
Oh, I would sign every letter and email with that.
I think that I would be entitled to use the appendage Her Majesty.
Yeah.
Her Majesty.
I don't think you could. But what would you do immediately after that? Because it must be such a buzz. Were you going to go to? You going to go to Dunkin' Donuts or something?
Beefeater.
Suppose so. Yeah, you could do actually, couldn't you?
Well, push the boat out.
Yeah.
Nando's.
And you'd wear the sticker.
Oh yeah, I'd be wearing it forever. It'd be on my PJs.
What'd you get the sticker for? After being brilliant at charity and stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's going to happen to us one day for services
do you know what?
To the radio.
Some of the chances that get it, you never know. You never know. If you hang on long enough, you'll get something. Here's the thing, you need someone to nominate you, right? The Queen isn't going... Well, this is what I'm thinking. The Queen isn't flicking through the radio going, oh, these two are great. I'm gonna give Iain a knighthood and her a CBE.
The British Empire.
What about me?
Okay, that's so sweet.
I do good things.
All right,
anyway,
mate.
I'm a nice person.
Yeah. So
Held the door open for you earlier.
You're not brave like what we are.
we
Anyway,
are very, very brave. I'm feeling a little bit down today. I'm still doing a radio show. And I'm not making a big fuss about it.
And I know it's my job and everything, but I've popped out 2 kiddies and I'm still doing this.
Yeah, fair enough. Got me on the kids.
So, Kath, you nominate me.
Yeah, and you...
No, you nominate me.
And then you...
No, once I've got my foot in the door of Buckingham Palace, once I'm in there getting my badge...
You'll have a word.
Then I'll have a word.
Hang on.
So, fair play.
Fine, I'll just go through Harry.
What?
Oh.
I really am learning to censor myself, which is great.
You know when he says that he can sort you out like that?
He doesn't mean like that. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number.
Text.
Yeah.
It's texty time.
Yep.
Why is it only young Muslims who can be impressionable and radicalised? And why not open this workshop to both Muslims and Christian British people who are equally radicalised and gullible, says Nick of Luton.
Nick, really? Are you... Now, Nick... I'd like to speak to you. Are you just saying that because of the it's not fair that the Muslims are getting all the special treatment thing? Because the chances of a young Christian being radicalised to go and join IS, I would imagine, is significantly less. I don't have the stats, but I would imagine, I guesstimate, it's significantly less than the chances of a young Muslim being radicalised and joining IS.
You don't know. Nick might have insider info. If you want to give us a ring, Nick, 08459 455 555. We've also...
Nick, may I make an accusation, sir? You're being deliberately obtuse. That's the end of the accusation. That's all I'm going to say at the moment.
Andrew, as Neptune...
I'm Ian.
No, this is from Andrew.
Hello.
Hello, Ian, from Andrew. He didn't write hello, Ian.
Andrew, good morning to you. Guten Morgen.
Morning, Andrew.
Andrew. Ian.
Pleased
from
to meet
Andrew.
you. Pleased to meet you.
As Neptune or Pluto, can't remember which, is no longer a planet, doesn't that stuff up the astrologers who rely on planetary positions?
Said that.
Yeah.
Said that.
Probably, yeah.
Yep.
Probably. And yet again, this is talking about your man from Harpenden, the burglar.
Oh, yeah.
Burglar Bill. Andy from Leighton
Sylvanus.
Buzzard. Yes. And sorry, Burglar Bill, I didn't mean about you. We know you've changed your ways. Andy in Leighton Buzzard says, yet again in this country, the victims are put second place to the offender. Disgusting.
Can we develop the argument any more than that?
Hopefully.
Thank you for that. Who was that from?
Hang on, I can't remember.
Doesn't matter. Thank you for that.
It does matter. I really value it. Andy of Leighton Buzzard.
Andy, thank you. Can we take the argument better? Can we develop it any further? What do I mean by that? Is there any merit in keeping this fella out of prison at all? Is there any merit in it?
I'd be really interested to hear from someone who's been burgled. And, do you want them locked up and then released and then go back to their own way of doing things?
Well, there's no guarantee this fella's not going to do it again, is there? You'd like to think.
There's a little chance, though, isn't there? If you get him off the drugs.
Here's the thing. This is only a tiny story, and I understand this, but I also think it's wrong. I agree with what's being said, but I think it's wrong, and I'm angry with myself for agreeing with it, because it's wrong.
Go on, tell me it.
And the reason I agree with it is because I'm a dad. But I shouldn't agree with it because I was also a young man once. More than a third of parents think the minimum driving age of 17 should be increased. Now, I think the minimum driving age should be increased to, 19, 20, but I took full advantage of being able to drive when I was 17. And I'm saying that because I don't want my boys driving cars when they're 17, because I can't imagine they'll be responsible enough. It's the same thing as we as parents nowadays don't want our kids playing out in the street because we don't think they're safe. We don't want our kids climbing trees because we don't think they're safe. But we did it. We all did all of that, and most of us came out of it all right.
Yeah.
Apart from you, keep breaking your arm.
Yeah, that was showing off, though. You shouldn't show off,
no,
kids.
My boy's constantly showing off.
Don't show off. Not even at your birthday.
But 17 is too young. Of course it's too young.
I started my lessons when I was 17 and I didn't finish till I was about 21.
Oh, you're one of those.
Well, only because I went to university in the middle and I couldn't run a car there.
What was that, Kels?
What?
I was similar.
Oh.
I started the lessons, wasn't as good as I thought I was, stopped while I went to university for a year, and then started driving again, sorted it out within a couple of months.
I started when I was 17, in June, and I passed shortly after Freddie Mercury died.
Oh.
November that year.
What was the connection?
Just remember it in the papers.
Oh.
No, I passed just before he died, November.
So it was your fault.
That year.
It was really a question of, don't stop me now. We are the champions.
Stop me anytime you want. You hit that dashboard and I will do an perfect emergency stop.
Whereas with my first test that I did before I went to college,
Yep.
I got a D for dangerous.
I don't think you get grades like that.
Well, the man told me it was a D for dangerous because I mounted the curb and made an old man run.
You mounted an old man and
made him run.
08459 455.
On a 3-point turn, it was the easy bit. It was the forward bit.
08459 455 555. It annoys me, isn't it funny? Because I heard them talking about this on the radio last night, and it annoyed me because I'm going, yeah, 17 is too young. Of course, young people aren't responsible enough to. And I've become one of them. I've become the suit. I've become the man. I've become a boring old fart.
Become.
You're such a. Oh dear. Such a cheese.
I think 17's a fine age to start learning.
Well, I agree. I should agree.
Bearing in mind they have to do like a written thing first, so it does take ages.
You've got loads to do now. You've got the written, you've got the hazard awareness thing, you've got the other bit, which I've forgotten about, where you have to lift up the bonnet and there's the oil, your tyres have to be this width, all of that.
Listen to this.
Mm.
My friend from Chile.
Oh, mate, you keep going on about her.
No, but this is an interesting thing.
She's your pair, Daisy.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is, mate. All the time that you bring out your friend from Chile.
No, my friend from Chile is trying to learn to drive. She can drive. She drives in Chile fine. And that's quite hilly there in Chile. But she wants to get her licence here. Now, she's done the written thing, absolutely fine. She has phoned about 3 different driving instructors. They never, ever turn up. And she thinks it's because of her accent. Because they assume that they won't be able to converse with her.
Say that again.
No, I'd get someone else to ring up for her.
Well, her husband sometimes
Hello,
rings.
I would like to have a driving lesson, please.
Sorry?
I would like to have a driving. I can drive in Chile.
Not a clue,
No,
love.
her husband's rung before on her behalf and said, look, her English is good, but, you just have to speak a bit slower. And I think that's what switches them off.
I wouldn't say that. I'd just say, can I book a driving lesson on behalf of my missus?
Good
She's
shout.
at work right now.
I'm going to have a word because I think that it sows the seed of doubt. So she said that she's seen them drive past. She's seen them. She said, "I saw
They've
them."
driven past her.
She's been sitting at the bedroom window looking for them.
Well, how would they know if they've driven past her?
They don't even honk or knock.
But so why would they know that she was couldn't speak English?
No, because he said to her, it said to them ahead of it that her.
Then why would they drive past? This story makes no sense whatsoever.
Why would they even turn up?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the bit.
I think they cop out.
This is your story. It's paper thin and I'm poking holes in it.
She is from Chile.
Maybe she's a liar.
Really nice and she's good at English. I've taught her some really good swears.
Analyse the story, right? Why would they even turn up if they weren't going to bother with the lesson? She doesn't understand. They probably don't have knockers or doorbells in Chile. They just like people.
There's not knockers in Chile. What are you talking
they
about?
just live in barns, and people just want. Hey, I come for the driving lesson, and she's expecting that, and they're sat out there patiently waiting.
Do you think it's because they neither honk nor knock anymore? If you're a driving instructor, do you honk or knock?
I got an email from Paul here. Paul, I don't think I can help you with this. Ian, I was just listening to The Littlest Hobo and my boss came in and started talking to me. I had to turn the radio down. I'm going to need you to play it again, please, or I won't be able to continue. Paul making optics in Stevenage.
Stop. He's putting the responsibility on you. Did you not read Russell Grant?
Yeah.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A10 Link Road in Hardyston is still closed eastbound between the Hardyston roundabout and the Sun roundabout, so it's affecting people travelling from the A10 into Hardyston because of an accident earlier on, and there's emergency repairs and inspection work going on there at the moment. In Aston Rowant on the B4009, that's now reopened in both directions between the M40 junction 6 for Watlington and the A40. In St Neots on the A1 southbound, that's very busy around the Black Cat roundabout, and looking at the motorways, the M25 anti-clockwise is slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. On the trains, Southern are reporting the half-hour delays and cancellations across the network because of a signalling problem at London Bridge and 2 broken down trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
That's what I'm talking about, Sammy. That's what I'm talking about, travel. 7:46 or thereabouts, Wednesday the 25th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme. And families in Hertfordshire are being offered money to provide a home for mental health patients. We'll find out more about that in a second. Let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's quite a damp start today, but it looks like the rain is just about edging out. Still a bit, if you draw a line down from Luton down towards Watford, towards the west of that, it does look like it's clearing up a little. Towards the east, we've still got the drizzle, but it is clearing. It's moving eastwards, and we should get some decent brightness later on today. We may even see a break or two in the rather thick cloud. We should see maybe a glimmer of sunshine. Now, it's also brought in some milder air, so it's going to feel quite nice in the sunshine. Maximum temperature 10 Celsius. More cloud later on this afternoon before it sets, and it's going to stay with us overnight tonight as well. Some outbreaks of rain, some mist and fog likely, particularly over the Chilterns and also out towards the Downs, so higher ground is more likely to be a bit misty. Minimum temperature in the countryside 6 Celsius, but many places, towns and cities, staying in double figures tonight, so a really mild night and a mild start to Thursday morning. Some outbreaks of rain, some heavy rain moving through first thing tomorrow, but that looks like it's going to clear us probably just after lunch, leaving the rest of the afternoon dry and clear. Some sunshine, but the significant difference in temperature. So our maximum temperature tomorrow is going to be in the morning of 11. By the time we get to the end of the day, it will have dropped off a few degrees and we'll be feeling cold again. That's your forecast.
Two of Britain's most senior parliamentarians have vigorously denied any wrongdoing.
The biggest news stories mean different things to different people.
HSBC has described 2014 as a challenging year after reporting a 17% drop in its annual profits.
To us, the biggest stories are what's happening right here in Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
A cancer charity based in Stevenage says they won't give up even though £5,000 worth of stock was stolen.
My little collection tins, that's all gone.
Every day, we bring you the things that matter most to you.
With news bulletins throughout the day.
A memorial outside Luton Police Station for Leon Briggs could be removed.
In-depth discussions.
She's proved to the nation that she's actually a human being. She's not an automaton.
And online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Local news.
When and where it happens.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, Rob, what have you got for us?
Yeah, hi, Ian. Yeah, I'm a driving instructor, and I teach people from all walks of life. I teach automatic, and I've got Uruguayan, I've got a Peruvian, a couple of Filipinos. The only thing I had a problem with was a few years ago was with a Chinese guy.
Because, oh, gosh, be careful.
Well, no, he had a very limited, language.
Yes.
Grasped English language, but we got on okay. Everything went fine and that. But then he asked me if his sister could actually start to learn, but she didn't speak any language, and he would sit in the back and translate.
Oh, blimey.
Which was very interesting, because within the first lesson, the two of them ended up having a domestic in the car. I don't know what that was said between them, and I ended up having to say, look, we're not going to go anywhere with this. We carry on like this. But,
you're like the Kofi Annan of driving instructors.
Oh, yeah, I teach automatic, and I get a lot of foreign students come, and especially some with disabilities as well, and that, Asperger's, autism, and that, so... but yeah, no, it's fine. I work 7 days a week. I'm very, very busy.
What do you think's going on then? I mean, is it standard procedure to honk or knock, or do you just normally sit outside at the allotted time and then move on after 10 minutes or something?
No, I always text people when I'm about to arrive. I mean, I will probably text them an hour beforehand just to make sure that the lesson's still on. And if I pull up outside, if I can't see their door or whatever, I'll send them a text and tell them where I am, and normally they're waiting for me, no problem at all.
Rob, thank you very much indeed. Here's a question. There's two questions.
She's obviously been hiring lazy men.
I just think she's a bit of a chancer, your mate.
She's brilliant.
Here's two questions. Should you have to be able to speak English to learn to drive in this country?
Si.
See you, Jimmy. And both of us pulled faces, raised our eyebrows when he said that he teaches people with Asperger's and autism.
But I guess it depends where you are on the spectrum, doesn't it? For example, your mate Paddy Considine is on the spectrum, but he functions perfectly well. In fact, he's flipping brilliant at his job.
Can I say this? The spectrum really annoys me.
Why?
Well, because it doesn't mean anything.
No, it just
Spectrum
means
doesn't
that
mean anything.
There are variations in how.
Surely
it shows itself.
we need something more specific than the spectrum, because it's very, very vague. Well, don't we need like a colour-coded system or something? Oh yeah,
Like a spectrum.
Well, he's he's autistic, but he's only amber. He's autistic. He's got Asperger's, but it's green. He's got Asperger's. It's red. Because then you're getting a sense of what's... Oh, he's on the spectrum. What does that mean?
Well, people say he's on the severe end of the spectrum, don't they?
Well, they don't always. If they're not on the severe end, they would be foolish to use
that wouldn't be true.
those words.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, families in Hertfordshire are being offered up to £600 a week to give a bed to someone dealing with mental health problems. The idea is that people who've been hospitalised through anxiety or depression stay at someone's home rather than a halfway house. Well, Sarah Biggs is from the Hertfordshire Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. Morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
How would this work?
It works very closely with the Hertfordshire crisis team. So the crisis team would see somebody in hospital who they think would be suitable to leave hospital and go and stay with a family instead, or they'd be treating somebody in the community who needed greater support. So they'd make an arrangement and introduce them to one of our families and arrange for them to go and stay with them.
So what kind of people are we talking about? What conditions would they have and how would it affect them?
Any severe mental health problems. So as you said, it could be somebody who's severely depressed, it could be somebody who's got severe anxiety problems, somebody who's had a life trauma and has left them feeling very wobbly and difficulty coping, somebody who's got a severe mental illness like schizophrenia or bipolar, but are at a point where they've passed the acute phase, but they've still got symptoms where they need that additional support and couldn't be at home on their own.
Now, there will be some Daily Mail readers listening, unfortunately, who will have the knee-jerk reaction. Someone with schizophrenia and bipolar? That can't be safe, surely. What would you say to them?
Well, it can be, and it's interesting because you were talking about this spectrum, and it's about how your people aren't dangerous when they have those. There's a terrible stigma attached to those diagnoses, and it's not true. And I think when you meet people who've got those disorders, you'll see that somebody may be very down, they may be very muddled in their thinking, they may need that support. They may have voices, they may have beliefs that we don't share, but it doesn't mean that they're dangerous. It means that they need help and support and treatment at that time, and being in a family where they can receive that, be part of the family, and have that kind of care and support makes a huge difference to their recovery.
What kind of people, what kind of families are you looking for?
When I say families, it doesn't need to be the traditional family. It would have to be a household that doesn't have children in it, because that makes life too complicated.
Right.
So often the people we've got are people who've maybe their children have left home. So it could be a couple, it could be a single person, but somebody maybe who's had their career but still has lots of life left in them and wants to do something, is interested in supporting people in this sort of way. And they've got space and time in their house. They've got a room, but they've also got time to spare to be able to be with these people and support them.
And what would be expected of these families? What would they have to do?
Oh, it's a bit like, just say you went to stay with some friends at the weekend, so you'd expect them to be round, you'd expect them to feed you, they would give you a nice bed and room to spend time in. They'll include you in their activities. They might help you to keep your hobbies going. You might be involved in what they do in their household every day, or you might not. So it's about they have to sort of guest them. They're hosts to these people, so they're looking after them. For, they're welcoming them into their house and looking after them for the time that they're there.
Sarah, nice to talk to you. Thank you, Sarah Biggs from Hertfordshire Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust. I'm moving on just on to speak to Mary Mitchell from Stevenage. Mary, you took someone into your home, didn't you?
I did, yes.
What was their condition and why did you do it?
Well, I've had various conditions. I'm actually on my 19th person to be in my home since we started the scheme 3 years ago. I've had schizophrenics. I've had people who are just depressed. I've had people who've had something traumatic happen in their life that has made them feel as though they can't cope. And I bring them here, treat them as part of the family, and just try and motivate them into perhaps doing things for themselves. especially if they've been on the ward for quite a long time.
Have you got someone with you now?
I have.
And obviously don't give us too many details. Is it a man or a woman?
A lady.
So you've got a lady staying with you?
Yeah.
I mean, supposing this person wants to isolate, because I quite often with some of these mental conditions, someone just wants to stay in bed and hide and isolate. How would you get around that without being irritating?
Well, I always check in the mornings and sort of say, I'm just going to do breakfast. Are you coming down, or are you quite happy to stay up here? Make sure that they're always fully aware that there's someone here if they're needed.
Yeah.
So if they're staying in their room sort of 24 hours a day, then obviously they need a bit more help. I just try and get them to join in whatever I'm doing. If I'm going shopping, come with me. If I'm going to the pictures, come with me. If I'm going out for a meal, come with me. And they have the choice, which they don't have when they're in hospital.
How long do they stay with you for, on average?
It varies. I've had people that come for a week or a fortnight, but I've had other people who have actually been with me sort of 6 to 8 weeks.
And when they leave, do you notice an improvement, a difference?
That is the pure joy of doing this. When they first come, they always look a bit nervous, which they would be coming into a strange person's house and a strange person. When they leave, if there's a smile on their face, you know that you've done some good.
What's for breakfast this morning, Mary?
What's for breakfast?
Yeah.
Bacon and egg.
We'll be over just after 9, is that all right?
Okay.
Mary, nice to talk to you. Good work. Thank you very much indeed. Bacon and egg. 08459 455 555 is the phone. She was a nice lady, wasn't she?
Really nice.
Wasn't she a nice lady? 81333. Start your text 3CR if you want. You can also tweet us at Iain Lee or at 3CR Kate. Let's get a bit of travel, shall we?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're planning to come off the A10 Link Road at the Hoddesdon roundabout, that's been closed eastbound between the Hoddesdon roundabout and the Sun roundabout because of a lorry fire earlier on and emergency repairs going on. On the A1 southbound at St Neots, that's looking very slow between the Great North Road and the Black Cat roundabout. And in Aston Rowant on the A4009, that's all moving again in both directions between the M40 junction 6 for Watlington and the A40. On the motorways, though, it's starting to look very busy on the M1 southbound between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and 9 for Redbourne. The M25 anti-clockwise has queues between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. And on the train, Southern Services are reporting half-hour delays and some cancellations because of a signalling problem at London Bridge and 2 broken down trains. Samantha Burr, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. Still trying to find someone to come on and defend astrology. Hey, I've noticed we don't really get Dealey between 7 and 8 o'clock. Is he on the strike or something?
I think he might have another job.
Unbelievable.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: anti-terror workshop for Muslim women in Luton, prolific Hertfordshire burglar escapes jail, and Watford back to winning ways.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The Making a Stand event is just one of a number taking place across the country. Sarah Khan is from campaign organisers Inspire.
One of the response we had from women was, look, please come into our area because we know there are more women that want to hear what you're saying. and want to know how they can protect their children from being preyed on. And as we've seen just this last week with these 3 girls, this sentiment of we understand that there's a problem and we want to do something about it. So this is part of a campaign that we're taking across the UK. We're going to 9 different cities, and today we'll be in Luton.
A burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in rehabilitation. 31-year-old drug addict Sylvanus Mason was told by a judge at St Albans Crown Court that he was being given a chance to turn his life around as part of Hertfordshire's Choices and Consequences programme. These people in Harpenden don't agree.
You should be going to prison. You know, if you commit crimes, he's put 32 houses in misery.
There's got to be a better outcome, and prison has to be the only suitable option, I would say.
32, yeah, means 32 times he done it intentionally, yeah, so he should go to the jail.
The A10 link road at Hoddesdon remains closed this morning following yesterday evening's crash involving a lorry and 2 cars. The crash happened just after 6:30pm. The lorry caught fire. Hertfordshire police say safety checks have to be carried out on a bridge which was struck. The road could be closed until at least 8:30. New rules are to be announced, making it easier to prosecute firms responsible for cold calls. There were more than 175,000 complaints about nuisance calls and text messages last year, but only a few prosecutions. Police are making a fresh appeal for witnesses after the death of a man following a crash on the M1 in Hertfordshire on Sunday morning. The man in his 60s, who died in hospital on Monday, was a passenger in a Renault Clio which was in collision with a Vauxhall Astra just before the turn-off for the M25. A second passenger, a woman in her 50s, remains in a critical condition. Families in Hertfordshire are being offered money to provide a home for mental health patients. Health bosses say the scheme is being used to reduce hospital admissions. More from Matt Lockwood.
Families are being asked to provide a home for people suffering from conditions like acute anxiety and depression. Those running the scheme says people are screened before they're placed with a family to make sure they're suitable. In return, families are being offered £600 a week. Health bosses say they got the idea from France, and these people would otherwise be in hospital.
In sport, Watford returned to winning ways in the Championship last night.
Deeney takes a touch and might fall to Iain on his left foot, and Colin fumbles it, and Nicolo is going to touch it home for a third goal. Nicolo in the right place at the right time. It's Watford 3, Rotherham 0.
And in the Champions League, 2 goals from Luis Suarez gave Barcelona a 2-1 win at Manchester City in the first leg of their last 16 tie. The weather, rain clearing this morning, some sunny spells this afternoon, a maximum temperature 10 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Last hour of the show. Sing hosannas, everybody. So there's a Tory MP who says, what the hell are you two doing, you idiots? Why are you comparing the size of your feet?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm a 6 and she's a 3.
I'm
so
trying to do a flipping radio show here.
To see if she was half the size of my foot.
For crying out loud. Anyway.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's a little bit distracting, if I'm honest.
Don't look.
Don't do it. Don't do it, isn't it?
It was an experiment.
Have we got any texts?
Yes.
Go on, what have we got?
A burglar from Harpenden. I've never before considered that a burglar might be really posh, says Jack of Luton.
Oh, I say, yes.
I don't know whether he is posh.
Is Harpenden that? It's not that posh there, is it?
It's quite posh.
Bits of it
But
are
I
posh.
think there are ends.
There are always ends.
Anyway, what does it matter? He's a burglar.
He's a burglar, isn't it?
Hi, Iain. I'm no Russell Grant, says Pat of Houghton Regis. We know he's Pat of Houghton Regis.
Yeah.
But this burglar set free will rob again because this judge is on a different planet.
I like it. I like your style, Pat. I need to go into therapy because I'm beginning to agree with Pat more and more often. I think we'd even enjoy each other's company. Now, an anti-extremism event for Muslim women is being held in Luton today. The Making a Stand campaign hopes the session will empower mothers and sisters to spot and prevent radicalisation. Professor Anthony Glees is Professor and Director for the Centre for Security and Intelligence at the University of Buckingham. Morning, Anthony.
Good morning.
Is this a good idea?
Well, the way I look at this is as somebody who follows security policy, and I'm not very good when it comes to psychology, although, of course, psychology is an important part of the motivation that takes young British girls to be so-called jihadi brides. And for me, this is first and foremost a security issue, and first and foremost an issue, in the case of the girls who've gone off, the 50 to 70 who have gone off to the Islamic State, an issue for the counter-terrorist police and indeed for MI5 and GCHQ. However, there's a big however here. I do think that we are seeing something quite big happening in Britain's Muslim communities, and the movement called Inspire, which is led by, I think, rather a remarkable lady called Sarah Khan.
Yeah, we spoke to her this morning, yes.
Right, there you are. I think it is just possible that it may make an impact. Her line is really that British Muslim girls tend to be very repressed at home. Their mothers are repressed. They go on the social media websites and see that the Islamic State is able to groom them, to give them a sense of their own worth and value, and that literally seduces them to go off to be so-called jihadi brides. She also, Sarah Khan makes the point that it's wrong to call them brides. I mean, the three most recent girls to go, two of them were 15, one of them was 16. The state owes a duty of care to people under the age of 18. They're not brides in any real sense. So it could be that this psychological message to Muslim mothers, value your daughters, don't repress them, will make them less gullible when it comes to recruiters. But is it going to stop the Islamic State? Is it going to stop recruitment of young British Muslims? I'm a bit sceptical.
What do these girls do when they go over there? We know that generally the fellas go over there and they run around with guns and, act like idiots. But what do these... and you're right, jihadi brides is a weird phrase because it kind of... Well, it's a little bit romantic, isn't it? With its description. What do they do when they get over there?
Well, by all accounts, they have to be very heavily veiled. They get beaten if any bit of skin is showing. They are meant to have sex with whoever becomes their designated husband, and they are not allowed to learn. They are not allowed to continue any studies they might have done. And again, that's very painful because the three girls who went from North London went from an academy that's noted for its ability to teach students and to give them qualifications. All of that stops. It's a completely different life. We know in the case of the men who were lured over that they're lured over with pictures of swimming pools, cool beers, sports utility vehicles and Kalashnikov rifles. You don't actually see them being killed and shot. And yes, you're right. It could be that this is a kind of romantic idea, and people who are my age, in their mid-60s, they can remember when their sisters swooned for Elvis Presley, and their mothers said, "Oh God, the last thing we want to do is to see people like that in our front room." And of course, that made it all the more enticing to that generation. Maybe this is what is going on with this generation. One thing is for sure: we don't understand the problem, and the role that the social media is now playing in the minds of 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds is something that needs to be looked at. For them, the social media, Twitter, Facebook, they're a real part of their lives. And it's not like it maybe is for us, it's just one of the apps that could be used. They're in their lives. And if they can be convinced not to go out there and perhaps end up dead, at the very best abused, well, it will be worth the effort.
Let me ask a couple of questions that may come across as being dumb, but I'm just realising there are a few basic things I don't understand. How do the girls know where to go to? Is there like a website that's got an address on it? It says, if you come to number 1, the High Street, Syria, then you can come and be part of ISIS. How do they know where to go?
Well, it's a very good question, and it's a very difficult question to answer. I think there are two stages. First of all, girls and boys have to be up for it in some way, and they have to be kind of recruited. Now, in my view, that does not take place usually on the internet. That takes place through personal contact with somebody. It could be a friend who's been recruited. It could be a recruiter. And at that stage, it is possible that teachers, whether they're university teachers or school teachers, could deter them by arguing with them. Once they have decided to go there, they are in stage 2. And stage 2, you won't know they're doing it. Remember, the families of the 3 from Bethnal Green Academy who went, the families had absolutely no idea. The school had absolutely no idea. By that stage, they had already been brainwashed and recruited in a very hard way. And at that stage, that has to be MI5. That has to be the counter-terror police. Because, as you rightly point out, you wouldn't just go off to Syria. You would have to make plans, there would have to be people to meet you, and all of those things would be communicated electronically and could therefore be intercepted. So that's a question about our ability to intercept the electronic messages that preclude somebody going off to be a jihadi so-called bride or to go and fight for them. And then the question is, why haven't we? Why did we not pick up these messages? Are they on the dark web? Are they encoded in some way? We don't know.
And also, why did we... I think we sent 3 Metropolitan Police officers over to Turkey. There was no purpose for that other than just looking like we were doing something. Well, they were never going to find those girls, were they?
No. I mean, I think one's got to be... I'm somebody who has frequently called attention to the great successes that our intelligence and security community have had over the past 10 years. So I'm not a knocker, but... In the case of these girls, and indeed the jihadi brides, I think the Met has got a very serious case to answer. They knew, the 3 that went knew somebody who had already gone over. They were obvious targets, yet the Met dismissed them as potential jihadi brides, and also they weren't on any watch list. And yesterday evening I was doing a program on the BBC's Arabic service with somebody from Turkey, and he said, it's all the Met's fault. We didn't have any names. We couldn't stop them from coming if we didn't have any names. I said, hang on, here 2 girls, age 15 and one age 16. They turn up in Turkey. Why didn't you ask them, even if you didn't know they were? Had no answer to that. So we have made a mistake. It will have to be looked at. We'll need better communications with the Turks, and anything that we can do to stop this wave of madness that seems to be sweeping through our country is worth trying.
Anthony, always good to talk to you. I really appreciate your time. Professor Anthony Gleeson, Professor and Director of the Centre for Security and Intelligence at the University of Buckingham. And you hear him quite often on proper radio stations. He was on Radio 4 the other day.
Well,
I heard him on, I think it was PM, and I got all excited. Oh, I used to know him, so he's good.
He likes coming on this programme.
He's excellent, and I love having him on, because I can ask him questions that sound a bit dumb. But actually, I realise there's loads of this stuff that I don't know anything about.
It's true, though, isn't it? I travelled on my own when I was 13, 14, and you stick out like a sore thumb. So if you're travelling to what is essentially a gateway to a war zone, why is no one noticing?
08459 455 555, and whether this Making a Stand campaign hosted by Inspire in Luton will have any effect or not, I don't know. But
they're having a go, aren't they?
They're having a go, and I was kind of a little bit dismissive of it yesterday when it was raised. But they're having a go. Their heart is in completely the right place, isn't it? So I wish them all the very best of luck, and hope it has some form of positive impact. 08459 455 555. Are you a believer in astrology? David Tredinnick, a Tory MP. And I think I do keep saying it's a Tory MP, a Conservative, because this is kind of something you'd associate with, the fringes of Labour, maybe a Lib Dem, or even the Greens. The Greens, are they still going? But it's a Conservative MP saying that if more people paid attention to astrology, it would save the NHS shed loads of money. Well, it's complete and utter nonsense, isn't it? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Between the A10 and Hoddesdon, the A10 link road is closed in both directions between the Hoddesdon roundabout and the Sun roundabout. That's because of the lorry fire there yesterday and emergency repairs and inspection work going on. In St Neots on the A1 southbound, that's looking very busy on the speed sensors between the Great North Road and the Black Cat roundabout. And in Marlow on the A404 northbound, that's very busy between Marlow Road at the Marlow Junction and the M40 Junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handy Cross roundabout. Into London on the A40 Western Avenue, that's looking very slow from the M25 through the Denham roundabout towards the Hanger Lane gyratory. And on the M25 anti-clockwise, there are queues from junction 21 for the M1 to 16 for the M40. On the train, Southern are reporting half-hour delays and some cancellations because of signalling problems at London Bridge and 2 broken down trains within the network. But there's no reports of any major delays showing up at the moment on the train departure boards. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Samantha. 8:16, Wednesday the 25th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. Investigations are continuing into last night's crash on the A10 at Hoddesdon, in which a lorry caught fire. And a burglar from Harpenden, who admitted more than 30 offences, has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Look at the shirt.
Thanks.
Look at the shirt.
Thank you.
You couldn't wear that on TV, could you?
No, I tried once and they told me off. I said no.
Did they really?
Yeah.
It's a shame because it's nice.
It's a nice shirt stripe.
Quite summery.
Yeah. It's my Paul Ross shirt.
You're feeling summery? Oh. Are you feeling summery?
I'm feeling really tired and lethargic and old and past it. So I'm trying to fight that by dressing like summer.
I see.
And I had my smart boots on when I came out, my smart suede shoes, and I came out and it was raining, so I had to go and put my walking boots on.
If you were ever invited to one of my luxury ploughman's barbecues, I'd like you to wear that shirt.
Oh, yes. What's the address? Come on.
We'll get back to you on that. We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. Gosh, look at you, the royal we.
Yeah, we will.
What you got for us today? What's on your show?
It's tasers again.
Oh, yeah.
But a slightly different angle on tasers this morning. You seen this story? Figures obtained by the BBC show that in 2013, 37 children aged 10 to 17 were stunned by police taser guns.
Oh, yeah.
Tasers were pulled on children a total of 431 times, but in 90% of these incidents, the threat of stunning was enough to resolve the situation.
Oh, yeah.
The youngest person a taser was aimed at was 11 years old. The youngest person to be stunned by the police, 14 years old. Well, David Blunkett, who introduced tasers, he's told the BBC that it was wrong to use a taser against an 11-year-old, and the police must return to traditional alternatives when arresting children this young.
Yeah.
Well, from 9 this morning, I want us to debate this. Do you mind if the police taser children? Do you mind?
Yes, I do. I think.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's awful. Do I mind if the police fire electric charges into children? Yes, I do mind. I do.
Yes, but they're not just going to do it willy-nilly, are they?
I object to that. Yes.
Those children would have to be doing something that is dangerous in order for them to be tasered.
Yeah. Do I object? Sorry, what was is the question? Do I object to?
Do you mind if the police taser children?
Yeah, I do. I think it's outrageous. Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's play this game.
Let's play the game.
13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's been doing drugs.
Yeah.
And he's come home. He's had a row with his mum.
Already, it's the saddest story I've ever heard.
He's grabbed a knife from the kitchen.
Okay.
And he's holding the knife up against his mother's neck.
Yeah.
The police arrive at the house.
Yep.
He's got the knife against his mother's neck.
Yep.
Is that a reason to taser him?
No, of course not.
What?
No, of course not. He's a child. Is that what's happened in these instances? You don't know.
Well, these are...
Is that what's happened in these instances?
I'll tell you what I do know.
Yeah.
The police, when they taser someone, the amount of paperwork they have to fill in is huge.
Yeah.
So they don't taser someone unless there is a valid reason to.
Like they're carrying a piece of wood and they think it's a samurai sword. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, a genuine threat that they perceive at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Or a blind man with a stick.
Well, it's a very isolated case. But generally, when you look at how many lives the taser has saved,
how many has it saved?
It's huge numbers.
Well, how many has it saved?
if you look at
you've just come on, Natalie Bennett.
No, but hang on a minute. I don't have to give you figures because you only have to use your common sense.
Well, no, but you just said
if you have a violent person out on the streets, which we have all the time.
Yes.
If the police are,
we don't have all the time.
Well, we do.
It's a little bit of terror. You said when you look at the numbers of lives it saved. Well, then what are the numbers? But you don't know, so
well,
you can't
find
use that
out
if
you want those figures. We can get those figures.
Find the number of lives that have been saved. I still don't think you can't raise a taser to an 11-year-old child.
Why not?
Because it's a kid, and what does that show us about how fundamentally flawed about our society?
So what about if that kid is being dangerous? What about if that kid is walking through Luton Mall with a samurai sword?
Oh, now you're being silly.
No, I'm not being silly. There was a case of a 13-year-old doing just that.
Well, you're not going to taser an 11-year-old. Was the 11-year-old? You don't know. The thing is with these instances,
the 11-year-old,
you don't know what was going on.
The 11-year-old wasn't tasered, but the taser was drawn on the 11. The youngest person to be tasered was 14.
Yeah, there is something fundamentally wrong with our entire system if the police are pointing dangerous weapons at 11-year-old children. I think it's outrageous.
I don't agree at all.
I know you don't agree.
I don't agree. In fact, I don't care if the police are tasering anybody, no matter what age they are. If that person is being dangerous and is posing a threat to other people in society, I don't care if the police taser them.
Gosh,
dogs have been tasered, for goodness' sake.
I couldn't give a stuff about dogs.
But you could give a stuff against a 13-year-old perhaps threatening his mother's life.
What, more than a dog? Yeah, of course.
No, but you're saying that 13-year-old shouldn't be tasered, even if it's going to save his mother's life.
Well, no, there are other ways to deal with these situations.
How?
Well, I don't know. Maybe talking to them, or then maybe distracting him.
What if by the time you've talked to him, he's cut his mother's throat?
Oh, Jonathan! But the thing is, you're making that scenario up. That's not. You don't have evidence.
But those are the kinds of things that can happen.
Yeah.
And actually, I have got evidence. There's a video that I used when I did my taser special of exactly that scenario.
A 13-year-old chopping his mother's head off.
He was 16.
Well, then that's slightly different.
But this is included in the figures.
16 is different to 13, significantly.
Why is it different to 13 if the act is still the same?
Well, no, because you cannot raise weapons towards children.
Even if that weapon is going to be used either against the child themselves or against a member of their family?
Yes.
Well, I just don't agree.
I know you don't agree.
I don't agree. I know
you don't agree, and that's
because
fine.
If the police come in, they have a split second to make that decision. They haven't got time to sit there and think, oh, shall we have a chat about it? And let's see if we can talk this chap out of cutting his mother's throat.
If the taser doesn't work, then we should probably shoot the kid, shouldn't we?
No, because there's a big difference between a taser and a gun.
If the taser doesn't work, for whatever reason, that child still poses a threat. Let's get the gun out and put a bullet in his head.
But then that would kill the child. A taser's not going to kill the child, is it?
Well, no, but you cannot. It's just a fundamental flaw with our entire system if we are raising weapons like that to 11-year-old children. Kids. 11-year-olds are kids, Jonathan. They're kids.
Some of them don't behave like kids. Some of them behave like vicious little adults.
I know. Well, then we shouldn't punish them with the threat of 50,000 volts through them.
It's all well and good to sit in a radio studio and to say, oh, well, there are different ways of dealing with it. When you're the police, when you're being called to deal with these people there and then...
Oh, come on. If the police can't deal with an 11-year-old, apart from shining a red dot on their chest, then the police... I've got no time for them. That is outrageous.
But do you think the police want to taser 11-year-olds?
I suspect some of them might want to, yes.
Most police officers, they like you, they're parents, they've got children. They're not going to walk around willy-nilly tasering people, are they?
Well,
there's a reason for it.
Not every time there's not.
Well, from 9 this morning, we're going to see... who you agree with.
Well, they'll all agree with you, of course they will.
No, not necessarily.
Well.
I'll get it in the neck.
Yeah.
I don't care. 08459 455 555. Do you mind if the police taser children?
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Peter's in Walmer Green. Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
What have you got for us? What do you have a whinge about today?
Well, I was listening to you talking about those 3 girls who went off to Syria.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it beggars belief that because they was quite intelligent students, that they didn't know the fact that they was going off to people who behead other people.
Okay.
So, why on earth are we rushing to get them back? They know what they're doing. They've been on the internet browsing, so I've heard, by different reports.
Yes.
Now, they're not stupid. They are doing something they want to do. And there is no doubt about it whatsoever. They must know the type of people they're going to. So I can't understand why we're saying we should have stopped them and all this sort of thing.
Well, we should have.
We should have stopped it happening.
We should have stopped. We should have stopped it going if we were able to. But yes, I don't know what the end game is now, Peter. Is the end game that we want them back so that we can punish them, or so we can de-radicalise them, or do we? Part of me does agree with you that we should just leave them over there.
Well, you see, we're talking about youngsters. Now, if youngsters have got a society that they're not happy with, is alien to them, or is wrong, or is not looking after them, you'll get alienated youngsters.
Yes.
And you're just
you
talking
always get alienated youngsters.
But you're talking about the other aspect and all where youngsters get tasered. I'm talking about generally overall the situation. I went to London for the first time for years in an area, and I have never seen
in an area
in an area where I used to live, and I've never seen such surly people.
Surly?
They're not happy whatsoever.
Where was this? What area?
This was what used to be called Bethnal Green, or maybe Tower Hamlets.
I think
now.
It's still called Bethnal Green, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
They are quite surly in I've been to
Tower
Bethnal
Hamlets
Green.
is used more often.
Well, Tower Hamlets, they're very surly, yes.
Yeah. But they never used to be.
But how old were you when you used to live there?
I lived there through the war years till I was about 22 or something like that.
As a young person, you tend not to notice surliness.
Well, there was a lot of laughter.
Well, yeah, there is a lot of laughter when you're younger.
Well, no, but there was a lot of laughter in the households too. Large families, very pleasant. Atmosphere was good, and that wasn't. I'll tell you what, it was noticeably not there. You could feel that the atmosphere was wrong.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact. Yeah. I asked some of the old cockneys I saw about.
There aren't any old cockneys anymore.
Oh, there are.
There aren't any old cockneys in Tower Hamlets.
There are grey-haired ones there. There's a costermonger on the main high road at Bethnal Green, and I asked them, and they said there's been more damage done to this area than Hitler ever did.
Are you? Did you go and have pie and mash?
Yes, 12 of us did.
With a bit of liquor.
Yeah, in Cox's down by London Fields, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And very good, too. And I was very surprised that all the ones who met up all wanted pie and mash, because not all cockneys like pie and mash anyway.
No.
So but it was a great time.
Did you have... do you like Winkles?
I used to like Winkles. I had a friend who used to sell them.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember the narrow way at near Mare Street,
Not a clue.
Near the Hackney Empire.
Actually, yeah, I do know. I drove past Hackney Empire last week.
Well, either side of the bridge, with the narrow way and the Amos Road, there was a cockle stall and a festival stall the other side.
A festival stall?
Yeah, they used to sell fruit and vegetables. And my friend...
A festival stall?
Fruit and vegetables.
But you called it a do you mean vegetable stall?
Fruit and vegetable.
Yeah, I know, but I thought you said festival stall.
Well, no, I didn't. I said vegetable, actually.
Okay, but when I said festival, you said yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounded the same to me anyway.
Okay, well, Peter, listen, I could talk about festival vegetables all day long, but I can't. David's tweeted, I'm old... David, I'm old enough to remember a time before tasers when I was always killing my mum, so... David, you're very naughty.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A10 link road between the A10 and Hoddesdon is still closed in both directions between the Hoddesdon roundabout and the Sun roundabout. That's because of inspection and emergency repair work after an accident and lorry fire there yesterday. In Luton on the Airport Way, that's looking very slow at the M1 junction 10A for the Kidneywood roundabout. In Watford, Beach and Grove's looking very busy around Escort Road, and in Marlow on the A404 northbound, it's looking slow on the speed sensors from the Marlow junction towards the M40 junction 4 for the High Wycombe Handy Cross roundabout. Looking Looking at the M25 and anti-clockwise, there are delays between junction 22 for St Albans and 21 for the M1 South. And on the train, Southern are reporting half-hour delays and some cancellations across the network because of two broken down trains and a signalling problem at London Bridge. Samantha Breath, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30, I'm Simon Oxley. Hertfordshire Police have confirmed that a lorry driver was killed in last night's crash on the A10 at Hoddesdon. The incident, which also involved two cars, happened just after 6:30 and resulted in the lorry catching fire. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. The Making a Stand event is just one of a number taking place across the country. And a burglar from Harpenden who admitted more than 30 offences has avoided a jail sentence by agreeing to take part in a rehabilitation programme.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford returned to winning ways in the Championship last night with a 3-0 home win over Rotherham. Odion Ighalo scored twice, with Troy Deeney also on target. And with all the promotion chasers winning, the Hornets remain 6th, 6 points behind leaders Derby. Here's manager Slavisa Jokanovic.
They play with many long ball. We try to stop this problem with a little bit different structure, little different players what I used last game. At the end we keep one clean sheet, scored 3 goals. We can score some goal more.
In the Champions League, 2 goals from Luis Suarez gave Barcelona a 2-1 win at Manchester City in the first leg of their last 16 tie. It could have been worse for City, but Joe Hart saved Lionel Messi's late penalty, much to the relief of manager Manuel Pellegrini.
Well, very important. I think it was a very important save because first was a very unnecessary penalty. I think that we must control our emotion inside the box. That gives us more chances to try to win there in Barcelona. 3-1 is a very difficult score to try to reverse, but I think that we can have more chances with that penalty.
Tonight in the Champions League, it's Arsenal versus Monaco. In League One, there were wins for all Milton Keynes Dons promotion rivals. The Dons remain second, but are 5 points behind leaders Bristol City and just 2 points ahead of third place Swindon, with Preston a further point behind. Meanwhile, the Dons' trip to Swindon on Good Friday has been put back to 12:15 on Easter Saturday for live television coverage. In League Two, Luton's opponents this Saturday, Accrington, beat leaders Burton 1-0. Hatter striker Paul Benson played a full 90 minutes yesterday for the development squad in his first game back following a broken leg. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Simon. They're still arguing over that tennis woman's bum.
It was my bum.
It was my bum.
Kelly, was it yours?
No, mine's better than that.
Well, really? This is a great bum.
Yep.
My wife was the real tennis girl, and this picture proves it, says a man who's got a picture that proves nothing.
It proves his wife had a bum.
As bottoms go, it's arguably the most famous ever. Well, I would say that the Middleton sisters' bottom is more famous now.
J-Lo's. Minaj. Kardashian.
Can we go and see the new J-Lo film? Because it looks brilliant. The Boy Next Door. She's a teacher. She's a hot teacher. He's a boy next door. They have sex. Then she realises she doesn't fancy him. She breaks it off. Turns out he's a pupil in her school, and he's also insane.
Oh. Do we need to go see it now?
Yeah.
But she shouldn't have abused her position, should she? So.
You're thinking of 50 Shades of Grey. There's a lot of abuse of position there. As bottoms go, it's arguably the most famous ever. But according... Do you want to go see the new J-Lo film, Dills?
Too right as well. I would love to go and see that film. It looks erotic and fantastic.
Honestly, I love Jennifer Lopez.
Yep.
I like some of her songs. Mm-hmm. I saw her in concert. It was all right. But I think her films are brilliant.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Monster-in-Law, Made in Manhattan.
Oh, Made in Manhattan.
Anaconda.
But you haven't seen Out of Sight, which is the best one.
Which one's that?
It's the one with George Clooney in the boot.
No, I've not seen that. I like the one where she gets beaten up by her husband, she divorces him, she trains to be a ninja, and she goes and kills him.
No, that's Mrs. Doubtfire, isn't it?
No, honestly, she's brilliant.
When are we going? Sunday? It's on me. I can arrange these things. I can get you tickets.
You'll get some freebies.
I can get you popcorn. So some mince pie.
I'm just trying to think what I'm doing this weekend. Sunday let me have a little think about it. Sunday might be a goer.
Okay.
Yeah, Sunday might be a goer.
Excellent.
Anyway, you know this picture of the tennis woman scratching her bum?
I haven't seen that yet, no.
What, never?
Can you forward that on to me?
After a match or before? Because afterwards, that's
You got
not
your
very
phone on you,
hygienic.
Just?
Have I got my phone? I'll have to check. Yes, I have got my phone number, yes.
Right, I'm going to send you a picture. I'll send you the picture now.
Send me the picture.
It's a really famous picture of a tennis woman scratching her bottom and she's got no pants on.
Right.
That's not it. Hang on a second. I'm just sending it to you now. Hang on. Anyway, so for ages there's been an argument as to whose bottom it was. And Peter Atkinson is saying it's his wife's bum.
Right.
For 25 years, he's been trying to prove that the Athena tennis girl is his ex-wife and not the model credited with raising the spirits of millions of adolescent boys since the 1970s.
Wow, a bum mystery which has gone on for a quarter of a century.
I've just sent you the picture. It should come through in a second.
OK, I'll keep my eyes open for that one.
Now, thanks to an old postcard, he says he has the evidence to... I mean, fair play. Is if that was his missus, then, you know, good luck to him.
Whose bottom is he saying it is?
He's saying it's his ex-wife's
What's
bottom.
her name?
Oh, hang on a minute.
Because I've got an article where there's a woman saying it's hers.
That's Fiona Butler.
Yeah, but
all the women are dead in this now. All the women are dead.
It's called Fiona Walker.
That's the picture coming through, Just. OK. Yes, Fiona Walker. That would have been Fiona Butler. Saying, you got it, Just?
It's just opening now. Oh, that's a nice one.
Great tennis racket.
Yes.
Anyway, he's saying it's not her, it's his ex-wife, but all the women are dead. So, the tragic... The curse of the Athena tennis poster, we could call it.
It's a nice poster.
Thank you, Justin. What have you got for us?
I've got two things for you this morning. A double whammy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's to make up for you not being in the second hour, the middle hour?
Well, kind of, yes.
When we get the most listeners.
Well,
and
no,
I just think
that's not true. That's
I think
not
you
true.
should... Well, we get more listeners between 7 and 8 than we do between 6 and 7. Think about it. You do
but not
the math.
between 8 and 9. 8 and 9's the peak hour.
Oh, so hang on a
That's
second.
when he makes his appearance.
So he's saving himself. You're saving yourself.
Correct.
Outrageous.
Well, about 10 to 8 this morning, I heard a great call, and you were asking off the back of it, is it absolutely essential that you speak English if you want to drive on our roads?
Speak the English.
Yeah, now, this
you
is...
You touch
not...
on my car, I smash at your face.
I've been out into the streets on this one. Astronomy to come.
Yeah.
But listen
He's predicting that.
Yeah, I'm predicting that.
Yeah.
But here's what people had to say. Is it essential that you speak English if you want to drive on our roads? I was not expecting this reaction. Here's what people had to say.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog.
Not necessarily, no.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's no different to if I want to drive in Europe. Have I got to speak local language?
Yeah, should be must speak English. Because, sometimes very wrong driving here, people. Yeah, didn't follow that road sign.
No, I don't think so. I think we go abroad on holiday quite extensively and drive in other countries, and we don't speak their language. So I'm quite happy that people don't speak English driving on the roads.
Really? Even if they can't follow the road signs, potentially that could be dangerous?
I think road signs are road signs, aren't they? It's more often the signs than the language that makes the difference.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Obviously, just showing hand signs or whatever.
So if you couldn't speak the language, you wouldn't feel safe driving on our roads here?
No.
It's so interesting because every English person I'm talking to says it doesn't matter, yet people that have come to this country, like yourself, are saying it does matter. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, definitely does matter because you interact with other people, so in this world you have to interact with other people, If there's a car accident, you know, involved with another person, which is very vital in that case.
Yeah, supposing you have a car accident, you interact with another person, which is, as Jenna said, is very vital.
Yeah.
How are you gonna? What are your? Can I get your insurance details? I won't do the voice actually. Probably best not to after this week's coverage. But there's going to be problems, aren't there?
Yeah, I didn't think of that one. I mean, I was kind of basing it on road signs, but absolutely fascinating. English people saying, oh, it doesn't matter. People that have come to this country saying, yes, it is absolutely 100% essential. You need to speak English if you want to drive on our roads. I was shocked by that. Secondly...
with the astrology?
Yeah.
Should we do that in a bit?
What's up to you?
Well, let's do it after... What's going on, mate? Breaking story.
Guys, I've done nothing.
Crimes against radio for the last 20 years. Let's save that for you get another crack of the whip.
It's fine.
Christian Grey.
Can we not talk about that, please?
Sorry?
It's school run time.
Is it? When did you become sensitive?
I got a bit of a warning a couple of days ago saying, J-Dog, just ease off on 50 Shades. Between 6:30 and 7, do what you want, but between 8:30 and 9, peak time...
Who said that, your mum?
Yes.
Wowzers.
She said, look, just be careful, you know, some of your aunties, they might be listening, and I don't want to know what goes on in your flat, and they don't want to know either, so just...
Well, also, she's not finished the book yet, so she doesn't want you to spoil it.
Justin, we'll speak to you in about 5-10 minutes.
Cheers.
Cheers, my dears. 08459
I'll spoil it, it's rubbish.
555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. There's a great picture. You've got to be careful with this. This happens quite a lot.
Go on.
In Latin countries. Where is the sun?
Okay.
There's my copy of the sun. Where have I put that? Hang on a minute, bear with me. And I was once doing the papers on Sky, and they wouldn't let me show a picture like this. I said it was an inappropriate picture to show.
So why are you going to talk about it now?
Because I think it's brilliant.
It's the radio and you can't see the
I
picture.
think it's brilliant.
Go on.
Right. It's a picture of a fella dressed up as the Green Lantern. You seen that?
Yes.
Seen this dressed up as the Green Lantern? Looks a bit
Yes.
sickly.
Yeah.
He's dead. It's his funeral.
Oh, right, yeah.
They love it over there. A Green Lantern fan stands dressed as his comic book hero at his own funeral.
Whoa.
Renato Garcia, or as Catherine would say, Renato Garcia, 55, was so keen on the superhero, he often wore his costume in public.
Oh.
So after a fatal asthma attack, his family decided he should wear the outfit one last time at his funeral in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Where?
Standing up.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
They do that a lot over there. They love it. Other corpses have been dressed as a boxer, a biker, and Che Guevara. If you could
What
stand
would you like
up...
to be dressed as?
Well, if you could stand up at your own funeral and be dressed up, what would you be dressed up as?
Wonder Woman.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That means there'll be a lot of flesh on display.
Well, I won't be able to be embarrassed, will I? Okay.
You're quite pale.
Well, they can fake tan me up.
If there was a light behind you, we'd be able to see your bones.
Added extra.
Kelly, if you could dress up as someone while you were dead at your own funeral, who would you dress up as?
Remember, there's no embarrassment factor here anymore. It's just living your dream or dying your dream.
It's a good question, isn't it? It makes you think.
It's a very good
It's the
question.
kind of stuff we don't think about.
I know
And
how
yet we
you
should.
She'd look good as Barbarella.
You can't have. You can't. I don't think you can be too sexy. I don't think you'd be sexy enough. No, you can't be too sexy at your own funeral.
All right, I'll go Boudica then.
Okay.
I don't want to tempt anyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. No, I'd probably go. I'd probably go dressed up as Justin Dealey.
That's just undoing your buttons, isn't it?
Barbarella, I've just looked it up.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
was,
Hey, Barbarella, psychedella.
Who would you go as, Ian? Did you just say?
Justin Dealey, I think.
Justin
No, I
Dealey
go dressed
chose
up as.
himself.
I guess I go dressed up as Tom Baker era Doctor Who. That's who I go dressed up as, and then my coffin will be a TARDIS, bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Yeah, you like that one, Kels? Don't spit it out. That's it, good girl. That's what I go as. Tom Baker. You can text it in the last 15 minutes of the show. A little bit of light-hearted bants. Imagine you're dead, it's your funeral. Who are you going to dress up as? 81333. Start your text 3CR.
You better put that on Twitter.
I don't think I want to be associated with that kind of stuff on Twitter, really. Oh, I tell you what we can do before the end of the show as well. What's going on, Kels?
Some phones.
Oh, blimey. I tell you what we can do as well. The famous body parts. No, hang on. Body parts of the famous that have been sold.
Oh, yeah.
Because
But they've included someone's toast. Last time I checked, that wasn't an appendage.
well, because we were talking about Churchill's blood was going to be sold. Has that been sold yet? Because for 300, it was between 300 and 600 quid. They always underestimate the auction to get you excited. I reckon that'll go for about £2,000.
Yeah.
That'll go for about £2,000 because you can actually, there is the technology
Regenerate, yeah.
to regenerate him and clone him back.
Have your own Churchill.
So I'm trying to think if I've got any body parts of celebrities. I would. Oh, I've got something that purports to be the hair of one of the monkeys. It's not. It was just a badge that they sold in the 60s.
All right.
Head hair. It was just a badge they sold in the 60s. It's Mickey's hair. Sellotape. It's not. You know, it could be
Just a
anybody's.
swizz.
Could be anybody's curly hair. But he had curly hair, a fro. But I would quite happily... I mean, I'd have a Davy Jones's kidney or something.
Would you? Oh.
I nearly bought his...
Scan.
MRI scan,
Yeah,
but the fella wouldn't post it to the UK.
Would you give Davy Jones one of your kidneys?
He's dead, mate.
If it would bring him back to life?
Yeah, of course I would. If a monkey got in touch and said, listen, I'm in a bit of trouble, can I have your kidney or your pancreas or your uterus or something? I'd say, yeah, have it.
What
Take
about
it.
Uranus?
Oh, now, come on.
What's astrology got to do with it?
News for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 northbound, 2 lanes are closed because of a vehicle fire between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. And also on the M25 clockwise, they're accused because of an accident at junction 16 for the M40 and 17 for Maple Cross. That's been moved to the hard shoulder, but it's still very slow. Anti-clockwise on the M25, there's a lane blocked between junction 26 for Waltham Abbey and 25 for Enfield because of an accident involving a car and a van. And on the A10 link road between the Hoddesdon roundabout and the Sun roundabout in both directions, that's closed because of a vehicle fire yesterday evening and emergency repairs going on to fix that. The A1 southbound at St Neots is very slow towards the Black Cat roundabout because of the roadworks. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Samantha. 8:46. It's Wednesday, the 25th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Hertfordshire Police have confirmed that a lorry driver was killed in last night's crash on the A10 in Hoddesdon. A workshop asking Muslim women to fight terrorism in their community will take place in Luton later. And David Blunkett, the former Home Secretary who introduced tasers for police, says it's time to look again at their use after more than 400 taser incidents involving children in 2013. 08459 455 555. More from Dealey as well on astrology. But before that, let's get the weather. Here's Kate.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's been quite a damp start. We've still got a bit of light rain out there, but the good news is on its way. We've got some quite thick cloud at the moment, but it is starting to break, and we should start to see 1 or 2 sunny spells later on today. It's going to feel quite mild as well. The maximum temperature 10 Celsius. The cloud will return before dusk this evening, and the cloud will stay with us overnight. Some drizzle overnight, some mist and fog likely over the higher ground especially. It's quite a misty and murky night, but a mild one. The temperature won't drop too much at all, if at all. Many places staying at 9 or 10 Celsius. So a mild start to Thursday. Some heavy rain making its way across us as we head through tomorrow morning and for the first part of tomorrow afternoon. Eventually it will clear though. So we're going to get our mildest, warmest temperature or maximum temperature tomorrow morning at 11 Celsius. But once that rain clears and the sky clears, the temperature is going to drop. And by the afternoon it will be a few degrees colder. A brief warning for the night Thursday into Friday. Because of those clearing skies, the temperature could drop down to 0 and we could see just a touch of frost for Friday morning. And that's your forecast.
Every weekday from 3.
Let's talk about your story. They're little globules of it's chocolate. What is that sticking out of that?
That's the abdomen of the ant.
Roberto Perroni.
Film critic Richard Fitzwilliams, welcome to the programme. Richard, will you be watching Rambo 5?
They are unsubtle, they are silly, and they do not appeal.
Overweight people are being ignored, humiliated and insulted on a regular basis.
When you're in the supermarkets, people watching what you're picking up and passing comments.
Can I ask you, Claudette, what does it cost to have a cycle of IVF when you decide, well, I have to have children?
It all totalled to nearly £25,000. When you're in such a low and desperate place, you'll do anything.
Roberto Perroni on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, John. What you got for us?
The burglar.
Oh, yeah, he's... just remind us of this story, Catherine. What's the background to this?
This is a guy who has kind of done a deal in court. He was up for a couple of burglaries, and as part of a deal, which meant that he would go into a rehab programme, he's admitted to 32 more.
And he's not going to prison?
No, they decided he's better off being rehabilitated than going to prison.
What do you reckon, John?
Perhaps he ought to face all of the people he burgled to see if he actually wants to slap them in the face to face, rather than a backhanded slap in the face.
Hang on, who's slapping who in the face?
Well, the people that have been burgled have basically been slapped in the face by the court system. So does this man actually want to stand face to face and slap them personally rather than letting somebody else do it backhandedly?
Well, I'd imagine he wouldn't, but what do they call it? Restorative justice?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called when you meet your the victims of your crime and you explain why you did it and they tell you how it's affected them? That's not a bad idea, is it?
I think I would like to, but I don't know whether I'd better control myself.
Oh, well, you wouldn't be allowed to hit him,
Why?
well, because it's against the law, mate.
Yeah, but so was what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other thing, right? He's been asked, or he's coughed up 30 other crimes.
Yeah.
Now that obviously helps the police with supposedly crime rate. Now the sceptic in me perhaps thinks that if you cough for them, we'll help you out.
Well, that's what they've said. Yeah, you tell us the crimes you've done, and you won't go to prison as part of this
has
system.
He done them?
Huh?
Has he done them?
Well, I don't
He'd
know.
have to be specific, wouldn't he?
Well,
surely he'd say, I broke into number 32 the High Street, and I took a telly, and I took some cat. I took about 50 quid a cat. He'd have to.
He's probably done so many that he couldn't remember where he's on his arse or his elbow when he did it, and which ones he's been. Yeah.
All right, John. Well, just watch your language, fella. Apologies there. Category C, but apologies there.
I would imagine as part of his rehab as well, he's going to have to make amends somehow, isn't he?
I like this restorative justice. You can't go and hit them, of course not. That's silly. But I do like the idea of confronting the person and saying, "Well, go on. What were you doing that for? It was horrible. Why did you do that horrible thing?
And
really
the impact
upset
it
us.
had on us, yeah.
Really upset us." Dealey!
He was honest though, wasn't he? You know, people in Harpenden, he was. People in Harpenden this morning were outraged, but he could have said, "Okay, I did 4 or 5 crimes." He's owned up to 32 of them, so he's been completely honest about those. And of course, if he breaks the rules, he will go to prison.
Scarlett Johansson's used tissue. £3,600.
Gosh.
But yesterday, Churchill's blood for what, 300?
It says, well, it's going to go up for auction. It says between 3 and 600. That'll go for about £2,500, I reckon.
Well, I hope so. Based on that tissue story.
Well, it described it. This is not a joke. In 2008, actress Scarlett sold a paper tissue full of her bogies.
Oh.
Jeez. William Shatner's kidney stone. Have a guess, how much?
Oh, I reckon that would have gone for £5,000.
Kath? This is a good game, actually. Go on. This is what we should have done all morning. William Shatner's kidney stone.
£7,000.
£16,000.
Wow. Just the one?
Just the one.
I'd want a couple for that.
Britney Spears chewing gum. Catherine, you go first.
Oh, £5.
Just?
£3,000.
£8,500.
Wow.
Here we go. Brangelina's breath. An air sample collected the moment Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie walked past. This is a good one. Go on.
50 quid.
Yeah, that's okay. That's not a bad guess. Kels?
People are weird though, so
Yeah.
I reckon. How much? 300.
Yeah, go on. Just?
I'm going to go with 1,000.
320 quid.
What?
Now this, I'm surprised by this. John Lennon's molar. It's a tooth, yeah?
Yeah.
Imagine owning John Lennon's tooth. It's easy if you try. It worked for a Canadian dentist who bought the former Beatles gnasher at a Stockport auction in 2011. But how much did he pay for it? Tooth of a beetle.
How much did he pay for it?
How much did he pay for the tooth of a beetle?
£8.50.
Oh, no, be serious.
£8.60.
Oh, jog on, mate. Kels.
£6,000.
Okay.
50,000 big ones.
20,000 quid. 20,000 quid. A final one.
Stockport.
Napoleon's penis.
Right.
Bearing in mind he's a small fella.
Oh, dear.
I don't think they're paying by the pound, but...
Yeah.
Just Napoleon's penis. This was in...
Sicko thought, oh, it's a shame he's gone.
This was in 1969.
Ah, so... What will that be in today's money? Have you got it in today's money, the equivalent?
Okay, interest has perked up again, and the man's daughter who owns it says to... I tell you what, okay, it was sold in 1969 for £25,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 100.
She has turned down an offer, significantly higher offer recently.
£100,000.
Okay, Justice saying £100,000.
50 grand.
Cuz?
70 grand.
She's turned down an offer for £65,000. I would say that would get 100 grand easily.
Easy, yeah.
Lee?
Hello.
How much would you pay for Napoleon's penis?
Well, I wouldn't pay anything. It probably looks like a walnut whip now.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. What you got for us, Lee?
Well, the guy who thinks his wife is on the Athena poster, I think he's talking out of his... And the burglar...
Yes?
The burglar rehab, what are they going to do with the rehabilitation? They're going to walk him past some windows or stop him going in some doors or something?
Ladies and gentlemen, Lee's here all week. Lee, thank you very much indeed.
Boss, I had a dilemma 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, go on. Thank you, Lee.
I was in Nando's in Boreham Wood.
Oh, yeah.
EastEnders fans will be able to name him. The Ginger Kid. Yeah, he was sitting next to me. I didn't know who he was. I'm not a big fan of the programme. I thought, he keeps looking at me. I thought he was something to do with Luton Town Football Club, but clearly not. He's in EastEnders.
Yeah.
And I then worked it out about 15 minutes later because people were going up to him.
Yeah.
But he finished his food, he walked away, and he left his plates. There was a tissue there. Do you know what? I had that very conversation. Should I take that off the table and put it on eBay?
You should have done.
For the big EE Live week. And do you know what? That's one of the biggest regrets in my life.
Mate, you should have done. You could have made a few £100 out of that.
I know.
Justin, we haven't got much time. Astrology.
What a plum.
He is a plum, but...
Biggest regret of his life.
Astrology.
One of.
Justin, I'm on your side, mate. That's a big regret. Astrology. There's a Conservative MP, David Tredinnick, who says that if we are all into astrology and if the NHS used astrology more, it would save them a fortune. He's a fruitcake, obviously, isn't he?
Clearly. It's all to do with birth maps and charts. So I've been onto the streets this morning asking if people believe. Also getting reaction to his very, very strange comments. Here's what people had to say. Good morning, madam. I'm J-Dog from Iain Lee's show. Do you believe in astrology?
Like star signs and stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Tell me why. Come on, open up to the dog.
Because I'm a scientist.
That puts you in a very unique situation. Look at this story. A Tory MP has claimed that NHS overcrowding could be solved by doctors using astrology to treat patients. You're a scientist. What do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous, and people go to doctors to get medicine, not fairy tales.
What about your life expectancy map? That's all to do with the stars, isn't it?
I think that's ridiculous. I think if you're meant to die, you're going to die, and some map isn't going to change that.
As you're a scientist, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Sometimes when I wake up, my vibe is really good. Sometimes I wake up, my vibe's not very good. Why is that?
Levels of serotonin.
You're laughing. Come on. You've got a beard. You're an intelligent guy. Yeah. Do you believe anything that he's saying here? Do you think he's talking sense in the slightest?
Not in the slightest. I mean, as a member of Parliament, you'd think that someone would use a bit more judgment in their decisions.
I think I doubt the veracity of it, really, actually, to be quite honest, yeah. It doesn't sound to me as though he's someone I'd want to vote for particularly.
Wow, you got the intelligent green. That man used the word veracity. I'll have to look that up after the show.
Where were you, outside the university?
I was just hanging on the streets.
Wow.
Can I just make one... I would never tell you how to do your job, Justin.
But here you go.
Yeah, go on.
Just one thing. I would prefer it, for legal reasons, if you didn't mention my name when you approach people.
Why?
Well, you're going up to people going, hey, man, I'm the J-Dog.
No, that's a hey, man.
All right, my darling, geezer.
No, don't say hey, my darling.
Geezer.
I said, excuse me, madam.
Open up to the J-Dog. Open up to the dog. I'm with Iain Lee. I don't want to be associated with you in that format.
Well, also, you're using a stage name, J-Dog. And that wasn't your christened name, was it?
Yeah.
I mean, it nearly was, but then you're using his real name.
So,
Well, get a nickname then.
No, I don't. No, I don't want... I'm not going to get a nickname just because you're a plum.
Have a stage name.
No, I don't want a stage name. I don't want you...
You're just jealous that you haven't got one.
I don't want you using my name when you're walking around, you know, with your arrogance on display.
OK.
It's just a small thing, mate.
No probs.
Yeah?
Update, by the way, later in the week, Panther Watch.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 northbound, 2 lanes are closed between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. That's because of a vehicle fire. On the M25 clockwise, there was an accident between junction 16 for the M40 and 15 for the M4. It's been moved to the hard shoulder, but it's very slow through that stretch. And anti-clockwise, it's very busy between junction 26 for Waltham Abbey and 25 for Enfield because of an accident there earlier. On the A10, A10 link road between the A10 and Hoddesdon. That's still closed in both directions from the Hoddesdon roundabout towards the Sun roundabout in both directions, and it's causing problems on the A10 southbound. There are queues from the New River Trading Estate, and also on the A10 northbound there are queues between the Hoddesdon roundabout and the Harlow turnoff because of that closure on the A10 link road. No reports of any major delays at the moment on the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. That's it. That's your lot. Thank you, Catherine, Kelly, Justin. Back tomorrow at 6. Until then, from us, ta-ra.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties.